Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wargaming.net League 2017 fall season. I'm James Rockstar Creed, joined alongside by Randall Rookhill Holcomb.
Hello.
It is match day 9, guys. One, it is going to be the clash of the Titans. I cannot wait. Are you excited?
I am, because this is the second time this season. It's the real tell. Eclipse versus Elevate, and we've decided to make it your number 2 match, so you have to wait for it. First, we'll have to get, of course, through Dare versus Top Tier.
Yep, but we'll have more on that in just a minute, guys. Let's go ahead and go over a few things first. Social media. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at WGLNA and hashtag WGLNA. Send us those memes, guys. We know you make them out there. Share them with everyone else. Let us enjoy them. I don't care if they're about me, Randall, our players, community. I just want to see them. Want to have some fun.
Yeah, and we can feature those here on the broadcast. You'll see them from time to time. So just, of course, at WGLNA.
Or also the Facebook Live pre-show.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/WGLNA. Get on there. Facebook Live pre-show every single match day at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We'll answer all your fantasy questions, questions about the league, or anything else. So just get in there, hang out with everyone. It's a good time. No reason not to.
Yeah, for example, today we went over all the map breakdowns of who has advantage on what map. So if you want to get those kinds of details, be sure to tune in. Of course, you guys are going to be heading over to fantasytanks.com as well, where you're going to compete against other players, against the casters here. See if you know the league better than we do and compete for prizes. Type 59s, piles of gold, and whatever prizes that we decide to give out every day and overall at the end of the season.
Yep, and just know that the Gold League players and all the Wargaming and ESL staff are not eligible for prizes. That is all for you guys.
Yep.
However, you can see how you're doing versus the rest of us. I think I'm sitting in 6th place. I know that Wallhacks is up there, and also there was someone else that's in 1st right now. It's one of the Gold League players. I can't remember who it is.
Canadian Impact?
Canadian Impact.
Canadian Impact.
Yeah, so a couple players in there, so you can see how you stack up versus the rest of us. All right, now that all that's out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings to see where we sit going into match day 9.
All right, Elevate is in the lead, 24 points, undefeated. Right behind them, Dare with 18, with Eclipse only a single point separating 2 of our teams competing for 2nd place. Aquatic, Teal Team 6, and Top Tier, all with 9 points, making up the middle of the pack. F7 with 7, and O7 has put up only 3 points.
Yeah, and offline, we'll get to the matches in a minute, but one thing to note is Aquatic M60s plays F7 tonight, so that is a huge match day for both teams, because that could make or break either of their playoff runs. So definitely a match to keep an eye on. We'll bring you guys score updates as we can. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our matches tonight. First up, it is going to be Dare Rising versus Top Tier. Then followed by that will be Eclipse versus Elevate, our 1st versus 2nd place team from the previous 2 seasons. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Then we have O7 versus Teal Team 6, and then F7 versus Aquatic M60s. So all these matches are going to be extremely close. Should be really good for the fantasy points as well. However, we are going to lead off with Dare versus Top Tier.
All right, and talking about that match, Dare, our first roster you look at does not have a full 10. We're going to be looking at Aggressor, one of the leaders of the team. James, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, he was one of their better players in seasons past when he came over here, but he's taken over as the main caller now, taking that duty over from 1-2-3 because 1-2-3 wants to be able to focus on his own play, and he's put up some fantastic numbers in seasons past. This season has been a little bit quiet. However, the 2 players that we should also be looking at is Bird and Dark Ninja. Bird, out of nowhere, has the highest average point per game on that team. It started off the season kind of slow, but really picked it up. And then Dark Ninja, since coming over from Aquatic M60s, has been putting up fantastic match after fantastic match. So definitely players you cannot afford to overlook.
And looking at on the side of Top Tier, led by Rude Awakening, we have news
that he is back and playing. He missed the last 2 match days for his team, had some personal stuff going on. We'll be sure to ask him about that during our face-off tonight. However, when you look at the rest of this roster, with him at the helm, they have the individual talent to do very well. Leptev's played very well this season. Exits, Mariel, Delph, Hako, all players that have been fantastic for this team, top fantasy point scorers, and they're just overall extremely solid individuals. However, I likened last match day to Rude being their air traffic controller and the rest of the team in airport. It doesn't all gel without him. So with him back in the picture, we'll have to see how they do tonight versus Dare.
Yep. All right. So those are our 2 teams, James. Let's take a look at those map choices, though. See how this breaks down both teams against each other. All right. So I believe the first bans are Sand River and Ghost Town.
Nothing too surprising there. Ghost Town's one of the maps that Dare struggled on, and Top Tier have played it pretty well so far this season. First maps in Muravanka and Prokhorovka. Prokhorovka up first.
Prokhorovka is a great map for Top Tier.
That's a map that they're both pretty even on.
Yes.
I've seen them. They've both played it a good bit. Now, Dare, I believe, only have like 4 rounds on it.
Yep, you're exactly correct.
However, they've looked very impressive on it. Mines and Nuremberg, no surprise there. Mines has been a map that both these teams have looked very strong on, so not wanting to play them late game when it matters makes sense.
It's literally the same place. It's their fourth best map for both teams.
Yep. And they both have above a 50% win rate, which means that, to me, above the 50% mark is the threshold of being decent at a map, at least. So that's kind of the range where you really don't want to play someone if you can. And then Himmelsdorf is a map the top tier are very good on, especially with the Brood, very map that you have to be very calculated on,
but
to move well as a team.
Dare, on the other hand, have not performed quite so well at Himmelsdorf. They're sitting on, it looks like Himmelsdorf is 14 potential, 13 actually played, and only 46% of those are wins.
Yep, but then you have Cliff coming up last, which Cliff, in my opinion, is a map that kind of seems like an odd map for both these two teams. Dare played it pretty well recently. Their north defense is pretty strong. It's still a passive defense that I'm not a big fan of, but they run it well.
Yes.
And if any team can break it, though, top tier with Rude Awakening have the ability to, find the missing pieces in the puzzle, put it together, and crack that defense.
Yeah.
So definitely something I would keep an eye on. Now we have the maps out of the way. Let's see if that changes the predictions at all, knowing everything that we know now.
All right, so looking at it, I predicted 5-3. I tend to favor the underdog a lot. Of course, I have to put in a note. I believe we put in our predictions before we knew Rude Awakening was going to be here today. And so actually, I think the question goes to you, and to you more so, which is now that you know Rude Awakening is here, do you think top tier has more of a chance than that 5-1 that you gave them?
I hope they have more of a chance. I want them to play very well. I really liked watching top tier at the end of last season, especially in the playoffs. They look great. However, knowing that Rude's been out for a week now, hasn't been in any of the practices,
You're
how
skeptical.
shaky it's going to be, I'm very skeptical of how they're going to play versus our second place team. This is Dare.
Yeah.
You have to remember that. They've played very well this season. They went 5-2 versus Elevate, but I don't think that scoreline reflects fairly on Dare because they played very well through the match, some very close games. So I think under the right circumstances, they could have taken even more rounds off Elevate, and that's more than anyone else but Eclipse had taken off them all season.
Yeah, although look at this. The last time these two teams went up against each other, Dare versus top tier, Dare did win 5-3.
No.
And that was a top tier that was not as well prepared.
That was in the first 3 match days for top tier, so they were still playing without a few of their key players.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have them back. We'll have to see. Once again, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see a 5-3 or even top tier win, but I think Dare have everything going for them. They've been practicing a lot, and knowing that and knowing how top tier's recent performances are, I just think they're going to struggle.
All right. Well, I think that closes that one, and I'm being told that we have both representatives of Dare and top tier on the line. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. We have Aggressor and we have Rude Awakening. Welcome back,
Yes,
Rude.
Missed
We've been talking about you, so let's move to you first. Where have you been? What have you been up to? How are things?
Just working. I started a new job, and I was really focusing on a lot of just catching up, and I had a lot of responsibilities in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it's been tough. I haven't been home a lot.
That's too bad. What can you tell us about your involvement with the team while you were doing the new work stuff? Were you able to practice much? It
was really tough. The team had to kind of get things going and try out with different callers, and they were trying a lot of different things, and they've progressed. They've learned a lot. They didn't perform as well as they're capable of, absolutely, but hopefully things will turn around.
All right, and with you back today, we're sure it will. Aggressor, let's move over to you for a minute.
Yep.
Dare.
All right.
We've, as you might have already heard, I'm a little skeptical going against top tier. Last time it was a 5-3.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you guys do a 5-3, or are you gonna fall to them this time? Do you think they might have any edge over you?
I'm not going to predict the score or anything, but I hope we do really well. We've been practicing a lot against for what they usually do, so hopefully we can get some pretty good games.
Okay.
All right. So we talked earlier in the season. You took over as caller for the rest of the team. You guys are obviously in second place, so as far as scores go, it's working out for you guys. How are you guys feeling as a team with that adjustment? You feel everyone's adapted okay? Is there any awkwardness? How are you guys at as far as that goes?
Everyone's fine. I mean, we've been playing some of us have been playing 3 seasons together, so, the couple additions and the couple changes aren't really that big of a deal for us.
All right. And I've got a final question that I'm going to bring to both of you guys. We'll start with Rude one more time. Rude, I want to ask you about the meta and the way it's changed since the beginning of the season. Do you have any comments on some of the most popular tanks or strategies or biggest changes you felt like have happened through the season?
Well, unfortunately, like one of the more important things to do in this game is kind of know the meta, and because of my recent schedule
Yeah.
and being busy and stuff, keeping up with that meta was really difficult. Because in order to keep up with the meta, you have to watch a lot of film and kind of see everything that's going on. So what I can say is I've at least had some reports on the new meta from my teammates who have been able to take care of some of those responsibilities, and I think it's getting heavier, and a little bit maybe more campier.
All right. Aggressor, your thoughts on the same subject?
What's the meta? I mean, the meta changes like every day.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm asking about, because it's always shifting, and really you guys are the ones who invent it, right?
I think once a meta is established, you get like a good 1 week off of it, and then the next week you have to make a new meta because people already understand how to counter the old meta, and that's kind of like the whole loop. And sometimes you go back to the old meta, and it's everywhere.
So I'm guessing, are you feeling that heavy kind of tank thing? Are things slowing down in your opinion as well, or?
The original coming into the season, it was like Wheezies and Bad Chats, and now it's kind of like, oh, what's the counter to a Wheezy and a Bad Chat? Well, mice and other Wheezies, now you can, and TDs and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Now we got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Aggressor, Dayrising, you have any final thoughts for Rude Awakening in top tier?
Good to see you back, Rude. Hope you guys play really well. Good luck.
All right, Rude.
Thanks.
Top tier, any final thoughts for Aggressor and Dayrising?
Yeah, it's definitely. I hope it's going to be a really good fight. And we'll do our best against a great team.
All right.
We will fight like men.
All right,
guys.
See you on the battlefield.
Thank you for joining us.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
All right. So I had to slip in the meta question. It felt right because these guys are watching.
Especially Rude. He's just one of those people you can just sit down with and have a drink and just talk about tanks and the meta and how things have changed and what counters what and why they do certain things. It's just really fascinating to hear his point of view of everything.
Yeah, and of course everyone's got a slightly different view. And like I think Aggressor put a good point out there. Every week it feels like it changes.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to, because what happens is after you do it for 1 to 2 match days, then their teams have, as Rude said, gone back and watched the film. They've seen what they've done. And so now it's going to be in the back of their head. All right, well, if they're doing this, what are we going to do for it? They have something prepped for it. So you, as Team 1, have to then go, all right, well, we need to change it up because we don't want them to read it easily. So what do we do?
Yeah.
And then after you do that a couple times, then you can start going back and forth to different metas and kind of throwing them off. But then you say, all right, we're going to bring one lineup that says this is meta 1, for example, like a really passive meta. But we're not going to be slow with it. We're not going to be campy. We're going to be aggressive. And that can kind of throw the other team off by doing something that they don't expect. They see the lineup, they expect one thing, but then you give them something completely else. And that is the kind of level these teams are playing at week after week after week.
And you may not even alter the strategy all that much. For example, Prohorovka.
Well, mind games, once again. They brought this lineup, but they're surely not going to do what they did last week. They're going to change it up, and then you're sitting there and you burn time like, well, they're doing that, or are they not? And it's just that constant cat and mouse game that just constantly evolves, and that's part of the thing that makes tanks great.
Yeah. It's, for example, let's move that exact subject to Prohorovka. Very easily, we'll see 5As, we'll see IS-7 stacking up in the middle. There have been points where you've seen literally one IS-7 or one 5A holding the middle of Prohorovka. And 2 of them just kind of squaring off while a bunch of Bat Chats and other tanks are moving around on the flanks. Whereas like right now, or at least last week and the few weeks before, we've seen more and more 5As and IS-7 stack up in just the middle of the map, where only 1 or 2 Bat Chats might be playing around on the flanks.
Yeah, because then you have that whole imbalance thing, trying to find the overmatches. And that in that exact example anyways, because if there's more tanks on the one line, and there's fewer heavies in the middle, if their team has more heavies there, they can go, all right, well, we'll just push over and just take the overmatch in the middle. And so it's that constant cat and mouse game that teams have to pay attention to, and that you have to be really cautious with it, because it can, if you get too far ahead of yourself, you can very easily just burn yourself by overthinking something.
Yeah, and actually that's a problem I've struggled with myself. It's very difficult not to get into your own head and assume that your opponents are doing everything possible at once. You have to understand that the guy on the other side of the keyboard is similar to you. He doesn't have all the information. He's trying to get his team on point.
And that's something that I feel like we don't talk about enough, is gathering information and use of it, or lack of information, and how they work around that.
Well, how about this, James? Let's do that for battle number 1. Talk a lot about information gathering as we look at 2 IS-7s, 5A, 103B, and 3 Bat Chats played for Dare. Top tier is going to bring 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, a 103B, a single Bat Chat, and a single T100 light tank. on defense. So let's talk about information gathering. 3 bat chats for Dare to do a lot of scouting, and then a T100 and a single bat chat to do all of the vision and scouting control for top tier.
To me, that says top tier. It says one-line play with tanks in the middle. Use the STRV in behind, keep him unspotted, let him just keep his gun in the fight. And use Muriel and the sneaky little T100 to get out in front and get the lights that they need early. And then Batchat also has the burst. So you have the burst and you have the Sturv, which is the constant fire. And now, Dare, on the other hand, they're going for an 8-line play.
Yeah, and he's aiming actually to counter out. A little blind fire goes up and over the position of where Muriel is. Muriel does move out for his little scout run, but you can see that the T100, this is why it's such a great tank. It's so flat that even if shots were coming out at his direction, chances are would go over under. He gets
Muriel
spotted.
Spots Dark Ninja.
Nice
puts
cover
a shot
fire.
into him.
There is an S-tank down the way covering him. And with that, Dark's going to have to back off. Muriel's got the escape route. He's in just enough cover that everyone down the line's got this under control, and he can back off. So with that, a lot of information was gathered. We know that a number of tanks are to the southeast, and there aren't many tanks in the middle of the map right now. They couldn't have hidden from the positions that Muriel spotted. And with that, top tier's gotten a little aggressive. And you've seen how an IS-7 Rude Awakening might have gotten a little over-eager, thinking that he could stay safe. Now, look at Dare's adjustment. Based on where they got spotted and what aggression kind of came at them, they shifted a few tanks up to the middle of the map and decided to posture up. They needed that control. At the same time, there's 2 bats on the east side of the map, which tells us that Dare's going to go for the 2-cap and a little bit of an east side play. While also, this is going to stack up very much like a defensive play normally would. Where you've got tanks in the middle, you've got tanks on the east side, but you're going to place
We're talking about information, and look at this. 2 Batchats for Dare up in the north. If they're spotted up there, that's going to signal an easy overmatch for top tier in the south, because the Batchats are going to be 20 seconds out of the fight if they push up and over. If they don't have that information, they don't know it, and those Batchats get in position to start unloading, these heavy tanks for top tier could be in a lot of trouble.
Yep, also look at this. Muriel trying to sneak in through the backfield right now. Spots Durgel, spots Dark Ninja even. And with that, Hako is down. That is not a good thing for top tier. They really looked like they had a stronger play. Nice shot. Muriel takes down Dark Ninja on the move. And right now, position-wise, top tier's got a bit of an advantage, but Dare's sitting on way more hit points. And because of that...
And they should get out both the heavy tanks for Dare Rising. One more shot. It's going to fizz off the tracks, and it's going to be Rude that actually is going to pick up the kill. So now, tank advantage is still in favor of top tier. HP is in favor of Dare, though. Only 4 tanks alive.
There we go. Fixer is down as well. So now 2 tanks down for top tier. And there we go. There's the damage that evens up the hit points you were talking about a moment ago. Durgel doesn't quite have the position, whereas S-Tank can be super effective. Although these bat chats moving down and around, I'm going to need to watch for. Harmless is at full health, just loaded, has 1, 2, 3 with him. And this little hit squad could actually bring the game back into Dare's control. But look at that. Harmless is going to have to back off.
And Delth and that STRV. He's another person to keep an eye on because he's going to have clean shots if these tanks try to drop up and over into the middle.
Yep. And we're going to see this stall out actually for a second. Harmless looked like he didn't quite want to go up and over, knowing that wasn't exactly a smart play. But with a full health bat chat, Harmless and 1, 2, 3 can combo up and possibly take down a crucial tank. I think that 103B would be an ideal target if they can find it. If. Big if.
Yeah, both teams reacting at the same time. The Batchats that we talked about on the 7-8 line 9, they're the ones responsible for the heavy tanks mostly going down for top tier. But at the same time, the heavy tanks in the south for Dare Rising also got isolated, and the Batchats from top tier pushed across in the south. So they in turn just canceled each other out and basically even the fight out. It was top tier that had the slight advantage, but at this point, with only 300 HP and equal on guns, I think it's a pretty even fight.
Yep. Although grouping up right now, top tier moving back to the north, Harmless is in a dangerous spot. Take a look, though, at where...
And top tier ready for it. They're doing the struggle bus. They're pushing Delth down there first.
Highway to the danger zone.
He has full HP. They spot him. Now Delth's going to set up. Harmless fires a shot. Well, not Harmless, but Muriel fires a shot at Harmless. Now the Sturv's going to get set up, and this Batchat needs to be careful because those buildings are only going to give him so many shots.
Yep. At the same time, why this is also dangerous is Durgel is given a great position to fire. He's actually trying to cover everyone to see where he can get shots onto Lop and everyone else on the side of top tier, so they have to stay in cover or they risk being completely destroyed by the cover fire that Dare still has. Here comes Muriel, moving in, seeing if he can maybe take down a Is he going to try and take down a building? That could work out.
I just remember he is in that T100, so he's extremely low-profile tank. So if he works his ridge right, one, it's going to be hard for him to get spotted, but two, there's going to be very small, slim shots on him. And he's going to start firing off some shots, harassing Aggressor from the south, unspotted, even though Harmless is less than a couple hundred meters away from him.
330 about. Yeah, and that's why the T100 is such an amazing tank. It's got good camo.
Well, no, Harmless and Muriel, they're less than 100 meters from each other.
There's
Now
Harmless.
they get into the prox range, and Harmless is pushing in. So now the cover fire needs to be good for top tier. So he's just going to go over. The STRV is going to get some shots.
Needs
Muriel's
one
going
more.
to take one more.
There he gets a kill. Delth puts a second one into him. He needs 2 more, and that should do it. We need 1 shell to come in from JoJo, but 1-2-3 is on the way, and so is Aggressor. Nice play by Dare. This could be enough to finish. Just depends on how well Delth can hold on. Delth shouldn't be able to hold on. Puts 1 into 1-2-3. He needs 1 more to finish him.
He has to get these bat shots out of the fight, or at least Harmless, but Harmless is reloading. He's going to get him behind. Now, he doesn't know this.
Nice. Delth is able to get the shot and needs 1 more into an IS-7.
Aggressor bounces 1, puts another shot in. 1-2-3 is about 20 seconds from his reload.
But inching up like this is dangerous. Batchat could come in. Batchat.
He doesn't know that. He has to.
Oh,
he
you're
has
right.
to bank that he's reloading. And there it goes. Aggressor is going to pick it up and seal the deal for Dare. That is going to be a 1-0 victory. Back and forth game, really close. However,
I think top tier made a few little
they were both
errors.
a little bit slow to react to each other, I think.
Okay, I can agree with that.
It was just at the end of the day, it was Dare that made fewer mistakes, I think is the way to look at that one. Because both teams had some, I don't necessarily want to call them mistakes, but they didn't have the proper intel on either side. They kind of assumed some things, and the whole push in the north and the south for both teams. They pushed at the same time with Batchats, and they both isolated the other team's heavy tanks.
If Dare had been faster with their reactions, they would have performed, I think, a lot better in that one. Top tier, I think that some of their decisions might have been more off than necessarily their individual player timing. That's kind of what I felt like with that. Because with the Batchats completely out of the way, and how this fight ended up going in the south, there was an overmatch for top tier. Clear advantage. And it did not go in... things did not play out in such a way that I felt like top tier was making the best decision for themselves at the time. But that's also based on we have a little bit more info, so I think we can give them a little slack. Yeah. Looking at the after battle reports,
5,400 damage on the losing team.
130 fantasy points for that one.
Not bad at all. And then 3K, 2 kills, 83 fantasy points. Durgel, Aggressor, Harmless, all doing what they can. On the second page, Rude coming in there, 1,700. Muriel, another 1,400 in that T100, 73 fantasy points, mostly for getting the lights and all the scouting he did. And then Fixer Reloaded and Hako both getting focused out pretty early on, only getting 1 shot of damage off a piece. Not too surprising.
Yeah, not too surprising. Now we're going to flip sides. And I'm expecting something along the same lines, aren't you? Just that general mid-stack with a little scouting around the flanks and just playing it flexible. It seems to be top tier's kind of bread and butter.
Yeah, the way you have to kind of think about these games to a certain extent is you have to think you have each team has 2 groups.
Yep.
And it is, of the 7 tanks, how many do you put in each group? Mm-hmm. And it's how many do you think the other team's going to put in, and which of those 2 groups are you going to have more tanks at, and how can you make that work for you without sacrificing the other group?
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on.
How can you have the other group hold while the other one wins?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Dare Rising coming in here, 2 5As, 2 103Bs, and 3 Batchats. Top tier on the other hand, 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, a 103, dropping the T100 and just opting for double Batchat this game.
Double Batchat's fine as far as the scout choice. Batchats can perform the scouting role sufficiently well. They've got solid view range, decent camo, actually good bit camo value. As far as firing when they're not spotted, that's a bit more dangerous than with a light tank. They have to position themselves and sit much more still, but ultimately I think most teams end up kind of going back to the Batchat more often than not.
And a bit of a risky split to start the game for top tier, sending 2 Batchats towards the hill. But the heavy tanks are chilling out down in the red line in the south, going all the way over towards the 1 line.
And there's a TD set up on defense for Dare. Okay. They're going to be having just 2 of them looking on the mid line.
Now Rude is actually just chilling out in the low ground here.
Yeah, he's just moving forward. He's trying to scout things out. Notice his IS-7 has optics on it so that he can get just enough spotting if he needs to.
Now, this is kind of what we were talking about. Now, look at this right now. Look at how these teams are split up. Over on the hill, you have 4 tanks with the IS-7 pretty close to them, then the 2 tanks down in the south. The other team is set up very similarly, except they have 2 tanks in the mid and 3 in the north to kind of stop that 7, 8, 9 line. But for our purposes, we'll just assume that the WZs in the middle and the STRVs are all in one group. That's going to leave the Bat Chats because that 2-line kind of divides the map. If you look at it, right now, let's say the fight happens over on the 7, 8, 9 line, where those Bat Chats are pushing forward with the Sturfs covering for top tier. If that's where Dare is going to get suckered into, the 2 Bat Chats are going to try to rotate down that 1 line. They're going to try to clear it to make sure there's nothing down there. 2 Bat Chats versus 2 5As. I don't see that fight going well for the Bat Chats without covering fire. And if that happens, then you have to look at the middle. If they identify that overmatch onto the I-7 from top tier, and they push over, assuming those 5As for top tier on the 1-2 line can win that Bat Chat fight, they can then get their guns into that fight. And that's how those overmatches can snowball out of effect. You win one fight, you can then in turn win the next one, even if they've started taking damage. So it's definitely something you have to keep an eye on as we wait for these teams to kind of make their play. It's gonna wait for the first thing to happen, though. It's gonna set all that off. It's going to be top tier over on the 8-9 line, though. So you have all these different little fights, all these different little engagements, all these people waiting for different things to happen. Now, once these Bat Chats get spotted, keep an eye on that 1 line, because I think that's where it's going to come into play.
And there's Root taking a little damage. Muriel is spotted. 1, 2, 3 is able to spot him. Same with Joe Jackie. Muriel takes 1 for 399. And just waiting in the wings is 1, 2, 3 with that Bat Chat.
Dresser taking a lot of damage to STRV. The Bat Chat's getting shots. He's actually on the low ground on the other side of the train track, so I don't know if he's going to get out of here alive. And it looks like the heat shell from the Bat Chat going for that Copla. There it comes from Delth in the distance, getting the kill. Now look over at the 1-2 line. Those Bat Chats pushing down there, and they're going to come across, and they're going to find 2 5As, and this could snowball out of effect. Harmless, he's going to get spotted.
Ooh.
Takes 2 shots for half his HP.
And he decides, I'm out, and turns around. Starts just booking it out of here. He knows this is not a good idea.
But now these 5As have to make a play. They either need to push forward, or they need to rotate out, because now they know there's going to be an overmatch on the other side of the map.
Yep, Bat Chats are going to leave. They're going to decide, okay, let's fight somewhere else, take on some other tanks, and get a win. Those 5As will take way longer to get into position. This is awesome for Dare. Top tier, you're right. If they can't get Fixer and Lop into a decent position soon, this is going to go in the way of Dare. But Harmless is going to stay around. I'm going to note that. He's moving into a bush to passive spot, but he knows it's dangerous to go up the hill. Holds back.
But look at this. 1, 2, 3 is up here. Now he's firing, and they don't know where he is. He's not spotted. Unloading shots, and this is a wrench into top tier's plans. They didn't check this.
No, they didn't. They just
stuck.
bypassed completely. And by the way, I was watching him for a minute. He did not fire. He didn't peek out. He just waited. He knew the value of just being that behind enemy lines tank. Sneaking in there. 5As have diverted. They're going to go across the middle of the map instead of going directly up the 1 line. Harmless held back, Dark Ninja also. And because of that, they're not actually in position.
Now, Mariel's about to come off clip, so we may see them push, the Bat Chats push over now that all the heavy tanks have taken that middle ridge, and sure enough, they're going to go over for Durgel.
There they go. Jojo actually misses an important one. He can't actually get an angle, and he's going to flip him over.
They're going to flip Durgel over. I don't know why they'd even waste shells on him at this point. He can't do anything. Yep, and the Bat Chats are going to ignore him. He's out of the fight. They're going to go for Dark Ninja instead, and this is going to be top tier cleaning this up. This gives me hope about top tier. This is good stuff.
Getting flipped like that hurts. Durgel doesn't even count as really being alive.
He's like a turtle right now. He's on his back of his shell. He can't do anything but spin his tracks in the air and just pray. And no help is going to come flip him over.
Poor guy.
And they still... There it goes.
Yeah, you die after a while of being flipped over. Oh, that's too bad. Well, that's a first for the league, I think, being flipped over. Oh, also that's an ace.
Yep.
That was an ace.
Clean 7, pretty good damage across top tier. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
That was, we were talking about meta, but that pretty much played out like I thought it would for top tier. They baited those Bat Chats into that 1-2 line play. That's where he wants that snowball to happen. We're going to show them something on the other side, and we're going to make them make the play we want. Because if you notice, those 5As were never spotted. That was by intention. That was, these tanks are going to be down here. This is going to be a little surprise present for Dare. And sure enough, those Bat Chats came over, and then they quickly turned around and said, we're on the nope that train to nope thatville. We're not dealing with that right now. And from that point on, they could just never recover. Too much HP gone. Positionally was gone.
And they were out of their headspace. The Bat Chats stuck around, hoping that the 5As would keep pushing forward and that they could put some cover fire in that, and just wasted a bunch of time for Dare. Not a bad idea, just in hindsight, they'll notice that they wish they'd use that time elsewhere. And then this push on over, Bat Chats working together. Now, had Durgel been able to get, or avoid being flipped, he might have been better off. But in this case, well, Yeah, didn't work out. Poor guy. All right, looking at the after-action report, Hako is at the top of the charts, 2,966 damage, just about 3K right there. Mariel, Rude, and Lop all making up the top 4. Only 123 in his bat chat, breaking 1,600. And then Delth and Fixer. That just kind of shows you the damage disparity.
Dare never really had their guns in a position well enough to really focus out anyone from top tier, get any consistent damage off outside of 1, 2, 3 up on that little boost. So not really too surprising there. Like those bat chats, once they pushed down there and they saw the 5As, what are 2 bat chats going to do against 2 hold down 5As? It's just not going to happen, especially when Harmless lost half his HP in 1 volley, and they were going to be reloaded in another 7 seconds to give him another.
Well, that was the really important part. Had that volley not landed the way it did, that was a more feasible situation for Dare to take. But when you lose half your hit points all of a sudden, and then you don't even have the other bat chat you're supposed to have with you, like truly with you.
Well, and if you look at it, the HP of the 5A right now, it's 2,200. How much damage potential does a bat chat have in this clip? 2K. So you're relying on high rolls, and if you have 2 bat chats versus 2 5As, even if both your bat chats pen all 5 shots out of each clip, chances are you're not going to kill more than one of them. And at that point, the consistent fire kicks in. And so if you have 2 bat chats, even if you kill one of them, it's still 1 consistent fire 5A. He's going to clean up. Now looking, as we head into battle number 3, lineups coming in, an I7, a Mouse, a Sturv, and 4 bat chats for Dare Rising. Top tier, an I7, 2 5As, a bat chat, and 2 M48 patents.
2 of them.
Yeah, and 2 bat chats to round it out. And we're going to see a Pain Train for top tier. Known to many others as a Lemming Train, just pushing straight down the 2 line right now. We'll have to see if they all stick together.
Maybe so. Mariel just doing a little opening scout. Jojo, ooh, shots fired by Bird.
M48.
And Jojo actually gets tracked with a 480 shot from the Mouse. Not bad.
And the bat chat's over in the forest right now.
Okay, everyone's grouped up. Nice grouping.
They're just going to go for this. This is going to be a world of hurt for Dare. They do not expect this. And everyone is behind Rude Awakening. They are just going in, and this is going to be Bird going down in a matter of seconds.
Should be. Although this is an IS-7. If he holds on long enough, support can come in and make this a big problem. Durgil on the high ground is in a position to deal damage, and he's doing just that. Bird's trying to make himself as useful as possible, putting himself on high ground, exposes his weak points, but Delth gets the shot. Bird will go down. And now between 1, 2, 3 and Durgil, they'll deal as much damage as they can to even this up. If you look at the hit points right now, top tier is down to 10K, next to Dare's 12K. As the bat chats have just gotten in position, I see shots getting fired by Aggressor, by Harmless, by Nationwide, everybody into this group of top tier tanks as they try to retreat into better positions. This is not working out as well for top tier as they'd planned. They're taking damage across the board.
I really like this response out of Dare Rising. Even though they gave up that tank, their bat chat's not committing all the way in. They got close enough to get some shots and to punish, but they're not getting into the range to where those heavy tanks can really bully them and use their armor and use their consistent fire. Instead, they're staying at range, using the camo value from the bat chats and their mobility and getting out of there. And this was actually very good for Dare. Yeah. Top tier. What I didn't like about what I saw there was they didn't want to commit because they didn't want to get punished too hard from the tanks in the back, paying that toll. Yep. I think if they had just committed onto that I-7, pushed over and guaranteed the kill, they could have killed him quicker and then backed off and taken less damage than sitting there trying to play that corner game, because you saw a lot of shots bounce because Bird, to be fair, Bird played it well. He played the hold down game, he backed up, he made it hard to get shots, and he bounced some shots from his front. So from that point on, I think the better play for top tier would have been to push around and make sure they get the guaranteed damage and kill him quicker than they did.
Possibly so. Now, bat chat squad's moving in from Dare. We've got just a squad of 4 of them. And we might see just about the same concept applied by the top tier just brought by Dare.
And here come the bat chats, and this is a good read from top tier. They
nice
get their guns into here. Rude's going to get up on top. They have this crossfire. Akako needs to get out of there. Now they're going to push up and over into Rude. Now it depends if the rest of the guns are in a position to punish. They're going to get some good shots off onto Harmless.
Now Fixer being focused. One more gets him down. Akako might be next, but it looks like guns are all trailing on tanks moving into support. That's Laptev, that's Mariel, that's Delth. And with only, looks like 4 shots across the rest of the remaining bats, it's Harmless and Dark Ninja, they won't have quite enough damage to stall this out. It's a good thing that Aggressor's on reload, good thing Dark Ninja's on reload, because they'll need those shells in just a moment. And the important thing for Dare right now is to hold off top tier's bats. Just keep them from moving in for a minute more. Although Mariel looks like he's ready to engage.
And those M48s, both one-shots. Now they have the consistent fire, but the Sturv in the backfield's looking for shots on them, so they need to be careful.
That Sturv's looking pretty delicate right now. One more shell into Durgel will take him out, and that's important. If he goes down, Dare loses their backbone. Although,
good pick there from Muriel onto Aggressor. These M48s just playing chicken with that Sturv in the backfield.
go. One more into Harmless. We'll finish him off. It's hard to find a shot. He just kind of dips off into some cover.
That M48 patent turret is bouncing shot after shot. They're really making it work on this ridgeline, really making it viable right now. And the Batchats don't have any armor to block any shots in return, so they keep poking up, firing, not getting a penetrating shot, and then just taking damage in return. Now, if you look at the south, they're going to push over onto the mouse. Now these Patents need to get into the fight and keep their heavy tanks alive.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. 1, 2, 3 on his own is going to have one heck of a time there. Durgel is down. Great play there from top tier. This is looking good for them. They've got enough tanks alive, but enough of them on one shot. And there, one more shell. That does it. M48 Patents coming in and doing plenty of work. Same with Delph, also finishing off Harmless. Only one remains. It's Dark Ninja. And he is sitting on 282. One more shell will finish him off. He takes down Delph. He can take down quite a few, but
a lot of one-shots, but it looks like they're going to close. Muriel's going to get in front of him and go make sure to go for the ram. Doesn't need it, though. He's going to get the kill. And that is going to be top tier pulling ahead 2-1. This is not the top tier from the last couple of match days.
No.
This is a very sharp top tier on top of their game. And Dare are in some trouble right now.
yes, they are. They really need to, I guess, pull everything out, all the stops, really.
Now,
this is a match where top tier will scare you. They will not let up. The reason that they don't win isn't necessarily it has nothing to do with the fact that they're not good enough. It has to do a little bit with some cohesion and just core team stuff. It has enough to do at all with individual player skill. So with that, James, I think the thing that Dare has to remember is like these guys are really good, even if the strat doesn't happen to be great. And that's where these things turn around.
Yep. Now, the other thing to think about, if we want to talk about mentality for a minute. Remember, what's our second match tonight?
It is Eclipse versus Elevate.
So if you're Dare, you're going to assume that Elevate's going to win that match. That means that there is no pressure on you in that second place spot tonight. So maybe Dare kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit, knowing they have that breathing room.
Remember what Aggressor was saying in the pregame. They take top tier very seriously. They're hoping for a good match.
Oh, they're giving it to him right now.
That they are. And this isn't over yet. We've still got a ways to go. And look at the post-battle stats from that match. We've got Agahako and Delph putting up over 3K, and 1, 2, 3 almost getting there in the mouse. Of course, the mouse DPM being nerfed a little bit in the last.
But it still has all that armor and still 3K HP, so it's really hard to kill. But the thing that really stood out to me was the M48 stat game. I want to go ahead and pull those up on my screen real quick. Looking at it, the M48s, where are they? So I'll have to get to it next game, but I want to see their damage blocked out of that game for those M48s, because they stayed alive way longer than they should have. They put out a lot of damage, as you saw in that post-game battle result. And those two M48s, having the consistent fire and having that turret armor, even though they lose the DPM out a little bit, that may have been what turned that in favor of them that game.
Yes, and the fact they performed very, very well.
And the fact they just stayed alive way longer than they should have as well.
Let's look at the lineups. This is a little different. Bird bringing in Kronwagen, Aggressor into Type 5, 5A, 1 to 3B, 2 Batchats, and an AMX 13105. I can't remember seeing one any other time this season. That's actually pretty exciting.
We have seen it on Sand River. We've seen it a couple of times as a passive tank on the cap.
We have?
We have.
Oh, I'm neglected to remember. I am so sorry, 105
that old
players.
man memory.
Yeah, I'm losing my edge. I do love the 105.
We'll get to that in a second.
You're right.
Other
if it
lineup
comes
coming in, an i7, 2 5As, a Patton, a 140, and 2 Batchats.
There we go.
I personally am a fan of the Kronwagen here.
I am too.
I really like this tank.
Good in hold down.
Good in hold down.
Great.
It is the best tank in hold down, in my opinion. The only weakness it has is if it takes shots from multiple angles. You can stare, if you're hold down, you can stare at JPE in the face and not even flinch.
This is true.
That's something that pretty much almost no other tank can say, except for maybe an IS-7.
Yeah, good old IS-7. But the cons of the Kronwagen.
Terrible DPM, and terrible pen on the heat shells, and mediocre accuracy, and it's not that fast.
Yep.
But if you can work that gun depression, and you can work that turret armor, it is an absolute bully of a tank, especially when you have some teammates around you, especially something like Aggressor and a Type 5 that fires heat shells, something, or not heat shells, but HE shells, something that deals with hull down tanks very well because it almost always does damage.
Almost always does damage. That sounds like the just bargain HE. Almost always does damage. All right, so this Kronvog, let's kind of watch some of his gameplay, because this is going to slow down for just a sec. It looks like while Batchat's an object work on the southeast side of the map. See those guys looping around, just moving on up.
Batchat's clearing the 8-9 line with the 140. Dare in this Type 5 just holding his corner, and this is a good tank to get those resets because it has the HP, it has the turret armor, and it can actually splash tanks near it. So if as long as it hits the tank next to the tank they're hiding, they should be able to get the resets on the cap, which is going to make it harder for top tier to get that cap pressure the way they want.
All right, and we're going to go ahead, actually, James, and let's listen in a little bit with top tier as they attempt to solve the problems of attacking on Murrow.
Okay, I7 moving up.
I7 move up. And what I want is I want to see if this guy can get onto cap, okay?
I don't know.
Just try, okay? This bat, you need to make sure you have covering shots on the IS-7 at all times, okay?
I got spotted.
This VZ, make sure you have covering shots on the IS-7 at all times.
I got lit.
They do have a light tank somewhere.
Yeah, it's a light tank somewhere in the bushes.
I got lit.
Oh, Hako, get up to this corner so you can spot, like, into here, okay?
I got spotted. I can't get on cap without getting lit.
They're playing east. I think they might have put the bats up the 1-2 line. So I got lit.
Yeah, the bat's on the 1-2. Scouts in the bush. Remember, can you start seeing where he is?
I want to say I just have to move.
Yeah,
this bush.
pretty sure. Actually, he might be.
Alright, one of their bats just fucking shot. He's over here.
Yeah.
I can't cap root.
Oh, there is Type 5. So we have to blind fire. But
Okay, I got lit. He has to be behind this line.
Okay.
Most likely,
Ollie bush?
in... 1 second, let me try again.
okay, I went through.
Is my shit, like, exploding? Can somebody see? Do you see, like, I'm shooting, like, at this...
I don't
There's
know which
Batchat
bush it
They
is.
got a bat on one line.
Oh, I got spotted from right here. Exactly where I'm at.
Am I hitting?
He could be in this middle bush. Let me see if I can figure out which one.
No. He's probably in the Wally bush.
Do you guys see my shots exploding or not?
Yeah, he's in the Wally bush.
Which is the Wally bush?
Everyone,
The
big
one with a bunch
big
of trees. Yeah, the
you-
trees knocked over in that bush.
Right here.
shoot all in that.
They're
They're
pushing.
pushing middle.
I'm clipping.
Loaded.
Oh, bat,
There he is.
105.
Get him up.
Got him.
Nice.
I'm
You gotta
having
cover
pink
Hawko,
spikes,
cover
by the
Hawko.
way.
Hey, just play the best of your ability.
Dude, we were hitting that guy.
Yep, I think it was.
Alright, now we can get one guy on cap. We can get one guy on cap at all
Oh
times.
yeah, go cap.
Get a bat on cap.
Yeah, get this guy.
Miro, you
Good.
should get on cap.
I'll try to get out then.
Actually, no, stay. I'll get
No,
him.
I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
Yeah. We need one bat to be, like, over here, I think.
No, you go.
I
I don't
already
think
moved.
they can push us, Rude. If they push us, they waste.
Jojo, you're the healthier bat. You
Yeah,
should.
if they start pushing,
If
that's
they push us, get 3 on cap. If they push us, get 3 on cap.
No, we can't. We
Oh,
can't
it's
get
like-
green cap.
that's what we're killing.
pushing.
Oh my god.
Alright, they're pushing. Get both. Get 3 on cap right now. 3 on cap right now. 3 on
Yeah,
cap.
I'm turning.
Me and Fixer can hold them for a while.
Oh, Hawker, we're just gonna stay here and hold.
Yes.
Fucking over tree for more bush cover.
Where should we go, Delta? Right here? In the
Just hold down right here.
Should
They're
we go
gonna
down
rush
into
with the
buildings,
Uzi
Rude?
and a bat.
There's the bat, oh, Hawker.
Just kill 1, 2, 3, and they can't reset. If you can kill
He
1, 2,
might be
3, they
alone.
cannot reset.
Oh, there's a bat.
Type 5 pushing through.
I bounced him again. What a joke.
Tracked him.
Type 5, 4,000 damage. Okay, he penned.
Yeah, no, everyone shoot the
Shoot
bat.
this bat! Shoot this bat!
He's driving the open.
Bat, oh, Hawker.
He's in the open.
Lopka safe.
Watch
Yeah,
out. Uzi
getting safe.
nationwide.
Nice.
Yes!
Get the hell out of here!
Fuck yeah,
I'll
man!
get the bat.
There it goes. I don't think we needed to come back from listening for you guys to understand just so exactly what happened there.
And you can hear what it means to them. This is a team that's like I'm terrified of right now. This is not the top tier I expected to show up tonight.
This is exactly the top tier I wanted to show up tonight.
This is the top tier that we saw during the playoffs last season. This is the top tier that everyone in this league, including Elevate, should be afraid of.
Yes.
Like just plain and simple. That is a scary team. The blind fire, the checking of the bushes, the coordination there. They got the 105 out. They understood, hey, they're pushing here. We have to do this now. They got those tanks onto cap. They understood who was the main threat there. Unfortunately, Aggressor got that penetrating shot onto Rude. You could hear he was kind of upset about that.
But you know what? He'd already won the game.
Yeah.
He'd already read the situation and understood exactly what needed to be done. He could have been focusing on the Type 5. He could have been trying to play some game with that, but he understood that 1, 2, 3 was the most important enemy on the battlefield at that point.
He understood there was a bigger threat to the team as a whole than himself. And the Batchat actually took too long trying to get the damage off, didn't get in position to get those lights, and that's going to be top tier taking that as we head into Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, and also I believe they also introduced us to something which people should be learning about, which is the Wally bush. Wallhack's got his own bush named after him, because that's where he would generally play passive. That's a caller from Elevate.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while, so a lot of people have some experience with him.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't hear it called the Wally bush all the time, but I think we should start doing that so everyone just gets used to the terms here.
Yep, and now as we go into battle number 5 in just a minute, looking at the damages on the second page here, nothing too crazy. It was a cap out, so the fantasy points for even the top performers is not going to be that great that game. So a little bit unfortunate for the fantasy players, but that was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
And you can hear what that. To me, that feels really good for Rude. That's the main person who's going to get a lot of that. Because that is 100% the caller deciding what goes on there, and that's his play that clearly won that game. That wasn't individual play. Now, I will say, Muriel in the blind fire there in the 105, that was the main individual thing that won them that game. But overall, you credit that 95% to Rude for the setup, the meta, and how they played that round.
All right, now we're going to get ready to go to Himmelsdorf. This is where the entire match can end, James. Top tier, if they win both times on Himmelsdorf, will end this 5-1.
They could give us a 5-1 scoreline, the opposite way that I predicted, but they're well on their way to doing it.
I mean, let's be honest. If I had told you that top tier was going to win, you probably would have doubted that, but you wouldn't have said I was crazy.
Well, if I knew, even with knowing Rude's back, if you'd said like a 5-3 in favor of top tier, I'd be like,
yeah,
okay, I can see it. It's a long shot, but I can see it.
All right.
A 5-1? No, get out of here.
All right, well, let's take a look at the lineups real quick. We'll get back to this. 50B, IS-7 mouse, Type 5, 5A, and 2 T110 E3s for Dare. 113, 3 mouse, Type 5, and 2 5As for the side of top tier.
Yep. Now, looking at Dare, they are the team on defense. Now, it's no secret that Aggressor has a little bit of a love for Type 5. Really seems to like those tanks.
It's a good tank.
So especially on defense for getting those resets, always doing damage. It's a pretty solid tank. Now it's fun to see how he fits them into his strats, because we're going to see it go over towards the 2 line with both the E3s right out of the gate. Meanwhile, top tier, the team on offense sending 113 to 5A towards the 8 line, Mouse going up towards the 8 line, and the rest of the tanks, including their own Type 5, going towards the south.
And standard spread on our defender's side. Nothing crazy, nothing to hill yet. Aggressor's going to play that mid game against Jojo. And we'll see 5A versus 113. Who's going to win? HE coming out and hitting Jojang.
Now you want to talk about meta for a second. Let's look at this mouse right here on the hill.
Yeah, Muriel.
This is incredibly clever.
Okay, why so, sir?
All right, let's say the other team sends looking over at Dare. What tanks do they have that they could take that hill with? The 50B is the only viable tank.
Or that they would entertain.
Yeah, maybe,
right? Okay.
maybe one of the heavy tanks, but you'd have to think they're not going to send anything more than that 50B towards the hill. If the 50B goes up that hill right now, he's not going to win a one-on-one with the mouse. Might get a few shots off, but that 50B is already going to struggle with the mouse, and so he's just going to lose a lot of HP. That's like guaranteeing that you're going to win that hill fight just by himself, as opposed to, say, we see a lot of E3s go towards the hill. The problem is they're weak by themselves. They can get flanked. They can get tanks around them. You get tracked. You don't have that problem with the mouse. Now, you don't have the same alpha, but you guarantee yourself that position and the fact you're not going to get bullied. Also, we could see it maybe be a bit of a distraction. Push them out towards this 0 line, get them up towards this top cap, and then move the rest of the tanks either over towards the 2 line or straight up the 8 line once Dare has responded. They've seen that mouse. But even if they're able to identify the overmatch, so that's one tank alone, it's going to take a while to get to him on that 0 line, and on top of that, trying to kill a mouse, even with 3 or 4 guns, it's going to take a little while, and that could be time that top tier could use to get a better position, to get good damage off, and to turn this fight in their favor.
That it could. And on top of that, while we were going over that, take a look at the entire minimap for a moment. We'll just pull that up. What's this indicate to you? These positions that you're seeing, is that saying that we're going to see a banana push combined with that hill from the mouse? The mouse creating that distraction you were talking about, while this push comes in maybe across the field as well?
They're in enough of a position they could flex either way. They could dart down into the south and go over towards that 2 cap. They could push across into the courtyard, get up into like E3, get across there and really pin Dare back, or they could do what you're talking about and take that 8 line. There's any number of options with how they're set up right now. It's a very flexible situation they've left themselves in, as it looks like Mariel is going to go ahead and start working that 0 line in that mouse now.
All right, at the same time, looks like pressure's increasing on the banana as Type 5 has joined the fight. Bird's got something scarier to deal with. He does not want to catch some HE to the face. Always hurts. Although with Mariel, there's the question I have about using a mouse like this. I'm not sure if it's the most optimal tank. You know what I mean? Because very often the tank that goes up and over the hill is a little faster, maybe a higher damage potential tank, and I'm wondering what we're going to see this mouse accomplish that's going to be to the benefit of the team. I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
It's the holding power is the main thing there.
But over an E3 or over a Type 5 or over 50B, maybe an IS-7?
Type 5 I think could probably do it, but the mouse is going to be a little bit more consistent in the one-on-ones. And on top of that, you know, why we're not seeing like an E3 or a 263 is, one, from the way that top tier set up, it's clear that this mouse is always going to be alone. At no point are tanks going to join him. He has to be able to fend for himself. And what better tank to fend for yourself against even, you know, multiple tanks to really slow them down than a mouse? What tank has the survivability to waste a lot of time from your opponent? A mouse. So look, to me, to a certain extent, it makes a lot of sense.
All right. Also, in the meantime, what you guys have been watching while we're chatting about that, just to bring everyone back in, is the way that this IS-7 is moving his turret. Is he's just throwing his gun up into the air. He's, I don't know what you call it, James, but I've generally called it snorkeling. Because it just looks like a...
That's always been the surrender sign to me, just pointing the gun up in the air. You're not going to do anything.
It's a great way of getting spotted or spotting things. The reason being is just...
The last spotting point is off the end of the gun barrel, if memory serves.
Yep. It's not off of necessarily where graphically it's displayed, if I'm correct. It's where the actual gun ends in game.
I think that changed with the HD models.
Not perfectly. Like, the shell doesn't actually exist in game at the end of the barrel, so that's why you can put your gun into someone. It's because the barrel doesn't exactly go the full length of the graphically displayed barrel. Not always. It's longer and shorter in some tanks.
Now look at this. Mariel is going to come across the 0 line. Now we'll have to see if he gets in there. And look at this. They took pretty much control of all 3 of the lanes, not just one of them. They've taken the courtyard, they've taken the 2 line, and they've taken the 8 line. So they're really pinning these tanks from Dare back to the back corner of the map.
That they are. What's Dare's response? Well, this is going to be that slow push, just bouncing a shell, causing IS-7 to just keep coming back and coming back. At the same time, it's scary with that Type 5. If he inches up and just gets an eye on the right target, you know that's going to be scary. Nice shot into Kuplo from Bird, showing us why he's just such a good player. He's going to be as annoying as he can be while this push moves up the 8 line. No one's spotting the mouse, though, Mariel, right now. And I'm wondering what top tier's thinking about that.
So both the mouse and the 5A on the 3 line, the positions they're in isn't primarily to do damage head on. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bait the tanks from Dare to respond over here to the 7-8 line. And those 2 guns are in position to punish the tanks respawning, not the tanks that are already there. So if those E3s try to come across that D line, that 5A will have side shots, and it looks like he's actually going to give that up. But so is the mouse, and the mouse is actually going to start pushing across, and they're going to start moving in, and they're going to find the isolation, and the IS-7 of Bird looks like he's about to be isolated, and Aggressor could find himself in a world of hurt pretty here soon as well.
That he could. Looks like focus is going to be on the Type 5. We don't want him just HEing damage all day, every day. And he's going to actually hold his shell. Bird's on fire. It's burning. Needs to get that out.
And I love this out of Alcaco. He's trying to simp for Delph, trying to keep him back in that pocket. And the Type 5 gets the shot for 500, but they're all going to push in onto Akako. Muriel's going to get some shots. 1, 2, 3 is going to get focused out.
Rude sneaks a shell into Bert. Nicely played. Aggressor needs one more shell and he'll go down. Just waiting for that.
And slowly top tier pulling an edge.
Aggressor staying alive. Nicely played. Muriel's going to not go for that. It's going to be Akako. And now Jojo, Fixer are going to go up against Harmless in the Type 5. Looks like he's actually completely alone. Not a lot of support there. And actually, it's going to be 3 tanks on him from top tier.
It is a 6v4 right now. And Dare are going to push forward into Leptev, trying to find the overmatch. Dark Ninja picks up the kill onto Lup finally as Muriel puts one into Nationwide.
Harmless throws a shot away.
And Jojo picks him up in that Type 5. And Muriel puts another shot into that mouse. They finally get the kill onto Nationwide. And Muriel trying to get that shot onto the lower plate of Dark Ninja. It's going to hit the track instead.
He just wants to keep him there. He's got battle buddies, people to help him out. Like Jojo, Fixer, Rude, all those guys. Remember them? They're still alive. Nicely played.
I think the easiest way to put it is Dare are in the middle of a rude awakening right now.
Oh.
Because Dare are losing 4-1 to top tier, a team that has been out of form the last couple days, that has not had Rude, and all of a sudden has turned on the style points, playing better than we've seen them play all season. And they are 1 round away from taking a win over the 2nd place team of Dare Rising.
They've done this before. Seasons past. You know. Like
last season.
And ones well before that too.
And also remember is in the, we talked about earlier in the season during the playoffs, the 3rd, 4th place match.
Yeah.
It was top tier that won that match 7-0 in the 3rd, 4th place match. So now there were bigger circumstances factoring into that one.
Could say.
But still, that is a 7-0.
Yeah. It's a thing. Top tier has this habit of just showing up, like becoming very dangerous later in the game. They don't often perform quite to my expectations, but there's something about their consistency that tends to be lacking. And it could be, Rude getting another job. I don't know how many jobs he's gotten during WGLNA, but, this team has been up and down. And Dare, well, Dare seems to have a habit of not performing as well as we expect them to against up-and-comers.
I just want to know how many people besides myself picked multiple people from Dare and didn't pick anyone, or maybe just one from top tier, and are sitting here there right now regretting their life choices, because that's certainly what I'm doing.
I'm not. I decided on Delth and Muriel.
Oh, so you went with 4 from this game. You stacked this one hard, and looking at it,
yeah,
Akako, 4K.
I got
Muriel,
3 dudes.
3,600. Bird putting a solid shift in that IS-7, another 3,400 damage, 62 fantasy points. Dark Ninja, Nationwide, Fixer Reloaded all having decent games, all above 2K. Jojo also above 2K, coming in there, 55 fantasy points. Then after that, Aggressor down there, 1, 2, 3, Durzel, Harmless, and Delth. Delth only getting that 1 shot off before he got focused out.
Yeah, Delth is the only one who on my list who let me down that battle. That's it. That's all. And altogether, pretty happy with the performance of top tier.
They are playing really good right now.
They are. All right.
There's no other way to say it. I mean, they're playing fantastically. They're 1 step ahead of Dare at every move. They understand what they're going to do. Their strats, the meta that we were talking about. Top tier, whatever work they did before this last match day to make up for Rude not having the time, it's certainly working right now, because they're about to win this game if Dare can't turn it around. Now looking at the lineups, 50B, 2 Type 5s, 2 5As, a 4005, and a Bat Chat coming in for Dare, opting for that boomstick in the 4005. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, top tier, now the team on defense. 3 mice, 2 Type 5s, a 5A, and an E3. 19,000 HP just from the start of this game before any shots are fired. Top tier has a full mouse worth of HP above Dare.
Yep. And that's important to factor in, guys. They're going to need
3,000 HP more.
Yep. That's the thing Dare's going to have to do. They have to deal enough damage. Now, with a 4005, you're looking okay, right? That's plenty of damage, especially if you can make this take a little while. You need Nationwide to get a few big shells off, make a few solid connections, and just kind of whittle down top tier. If they can do that, then they can find the opening and sneak in.
Well, once again, we've talked about before, what is the biggest downside to bringing all these giant heavy tanks? Mobility.
Flexibility.
The speed, the flexibility. So what Dare has to do here to make this work is they need to make them leave their fixed positions, and when they do it, they have to punish. Now, they may have to do it multiple times. They may have to bait them onto one side of the map, get some damage off, and run away. Just like they're doing right here. They're getting some shots on the left tip. Now they need to try to find a way here soon to try to open up that 2-cap. Get guns from multiple angles because it's tucked in that top left corner. That top left corner, Randall, is one you're very familiar with. That corner has been used on Himmelsdorf for seasons upon seasons upon seasons.
And it's always been good. You have an incredibly long distance to cover in order to approach. And the way that you have to approach, what's great and is not as often talked about, is easy to track tanks moving north. If you're on the south side of the map and you try to attack the north, James, just draw me a line from the south to the north right now.
Right now you have 2 lanes of approach into this top corner. That's right there and there. So as the attacking team, your only opportunities to really get damage is in this gap here and over here in this area here. So you have to make tanks move back and forth. And right now, if they get cap pressure down here, maybe make some of these tanks move down, they can get some damage into this kind of area. But then once that's done and those tanks are dead, they have to run away for top tier, or for Dare, excuse me. So what then has to happen is they have to get pressure over here. They have to get these tanks to come this way. And they have to go back and forth like that to slowly chip away at them. The problem is your HP is limited as the attacker. You don't have a whole lot of HP to make that bait work with. So you have to do it very well. You have to be set up to punish ahead of time. And if you're not coordinated in the least bit, you can lose a lot of tanks, a lot of HP, and just all of a sudden handicap yourself before you've even been able to make a decisive play. It's risky, it's hard to do, but that's what you have to do when you're playing a lineup with 5 super heavy tanks in it and an E3 and a 5A.
Yep. All right. I'll take a little hard right out of that topic. Thank you, James, so much for breaking that down. And look back at where the match is right now. We've got FP 4005 and 2 of those Type 5 heavies up on the hill. So up and over, while we've got the rest of Dare moving down the banana. And we're actually going to take a listen in with Top Tier. I want to see what they're talking about as they're preparing to defend against this Dare attack.
You come over here.
Ooh,
Angle, hackle.
I guess I'll take the short way.
Wait.
They're both crossing?
They're both crossing.
Well, one of them doesn't even matter this
Take
point.
damage.
FP.
Take damage. Take damage.
He missed. FP missed.
Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him.
Can't
No shot.
Backed off. He just snapped and fell back.
Well, we traded like 600 HP worth of damage for almost killed dead Type 5. Okay, 600 left.
They're gonna try to get the bat.
Delta, stay here. Delta, stay here.
Yeah,
This moss is over here. I need one moss to get into here. One moss.
I'll do that.
Just go here and start controlling the 5 line, side scraping it, okay?
Miro, can I go to the window right next to you? And
I'll watch
I
3 line.
huh?
That's 2 cap.
Alright, Type 5, you're coming with
Fixer,
me.
you could check that.
Type 5, you're coming with me. We're gonna start working the D line, okay? Type
It's
5.
most likely the bat on the south.
We have time. We have time. We have time.
The bat's on the south.
4005 might poke. Never
I'm
mind.
watching.
It's Type 5. Oh, Type 5. Nothing on the 3 line, nothing on the 3 line.
How you want this reset, Rude?
I can go behind with Rude.
Yeah.
They go stack the Wheezies.
Yeah, they could probably hold us off.
I'm gonna get a little closer just in case.
Alright,
the bat.
these guys.
Why did the
Missed.
bat poke?
Did you get reset?
Oh, Del.
I couldn't snap down fast.
Alright, heavies. Push up to here. Push up to here. This Type 5 and this E3. Watch for that. Watch for that heavy, okay?
Fire.
Just don't.
Oh, Hako, you
let
gotta
that
help,
best
okay?
type pen
Let's
you.
go.
I
Hako,
crit
push
his
up.
gun.
Yeah.
Hey, next to me, Lop. Next to me, we peek, shoot, and reverse.
Bird
Go,
fire.
go.
Oh, he's back
Stop
now.
it.
He ran. Back off.
He's running.
Back off.
He's dropping into the middle.
They're gonna push
They're
mid.
gonna
It's the monsters can support.
Oh, Hako, no. Oh,
Back
Hako,
off.
no.
Back off.
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Our Type
saving my
5
shot for the bat.
can hold up
Yeah,
north.
they're
You guys watch this cross. Watch this cross.
Yep.
The FE is poking hill.
One
Bat,
shot
bat,
at the Dark
bat.
Ninja.
I'm trying to flex out.
I got him. 2 seconds. I got him.
I'll
Got
him.
him.
Nice. I'm loaded in
Focus.
2.
What the fuck is shooting me? Oh.
Hold our E3 and Type 5 holds there.
Push the 5A. Push the 5A. Moist, push that 5A.
They're crossing.
4005 on hill.
one of them can cross. Miro, you keep going. Do what you think.
FE fired.
Keep going, Delph.
Push this 5A. Push this 5A.
Bad.
Keep driving Lop.
This TIE 5 is coming into the fight. The other one will die if he tries to.
FTB. I need to back off. I'm low.
I couldn't stand back.
Can we kill Durgil?
I got Durgil.
50B fire too.
I'm loaded. I'm shooting. I'm looking at FTB. Alright, FTB backed off.
FE speaking.
Oh, Type 5 is back.
I got the
FE
FA.
Nice!
Nice!
Block. Alright, nice. TIE 5.
Okay, let the E3 come in. I have armor.
Type 5 doesn't have a
let me come in.
rocket.
I got
Follow
blocked.
me, guys. I'm coming.
50B is flanking from courtyard.
FTB's trying to flank. I'm shooting. FTB. If he pushes up.
Keep
Lop, go
blocking.
forward. Lop, go forward. Give me a shot.
TIE 5 fired. TIE 5 fired.
Never mind.
Watch
He
the
backed
courtyard.
off.
I'm looking for you. Bird's poking. I'm
Jojo,
dead.
we shouldn't push this.
Watch out for FTB.
This bird
It's
is
gonna be
supposed to
the other
be.
Type 5 is gonna be
FTB
here.
has side shots.
50B.
Wipe him.
Bird's one shot. Bird's one shot.
Did bird fire?
No, he's not.
Jojo, move your gun.
Yeah,
No, he did.
Clean him.
Get him.
Get
Get.
the truck hill up.
FTB is not looking at you, Rude.
50B has 2 max.
Nice. Fixer
I'm
got
just-
50B.
I'm
Fixer
just
got
holding
50B.
aggressive.
Reloading.
Yo, wait for
50B
Rude.
has 2 max. 50B has 2 max.
I'm gonna pull back row.
Go.
he's
Go
cooking right now.
together.
50B has 2?
Hold on, let
He
me fix
fired twice at me.
Let me fix my
Okay,
gun. Fix my gun.
hold
Fix
on.
my gun.
You can
3 seconds.
You can shoot him in the turret.
He could have forced.
Other types there.
Jojo, be careful. Like if you go too far forward, I can't.
I'm just
shoot.
reversing.
Okay.
Reverse all the way up.
Nice.
Yo,
Go.
Fixer.
Bro, get in.
Yes! Alright. I'm going.
Hold it. Never mind, hold.
Hold.
Fired.
Okay, we're on defense. You don't have to poke.
Hold.
Like risk a fire or something.
Just wait for
Just
them to
preempt
go.
the corner.
Aggressive
Preempt the
fire.
corner, bro.
Preempt the corner.
Preempt the corner.
Corner.
Because we have we have a bunch of 1-shots.
Mero can take the shots.
We
and you
just
guys can
hold him
poke
here.
8 line.
I can go around him.
Hold him.
Alright, they have to.
Lop and Fixer go together. They have 2 minutes. Just hold and I'm gonna run.
You just
Does it
sit
go get
here,
left?
fix here.
Hold. Buy time.
Let's go.
Buy time.
Is top tier in
5-1,
trouble.
baby.
If we can kill the
5-1,
one shot,
baby.
Buy fucking time. Just buy time. Buy
if
time.
we kill the one shot, they can't count.
Run!
Is
Run!
he-
You
screaming,
guys
keep
kill the one
screaming.
shot, we'll
Maybe
win.
something will happen. Keep screaming.
Guys, I think top tier's in trouble. Don't you guys agree?
Top tier's in trouble, I know, right?
Top tier's in trouble.
We don't have exits, we're dead.
Was Exix the problem?
Thank you.
Top tier's in trouble.
You guys have no idea how important attitude is in this game.
Yeah. Actually.
It's literally like really.
Well, his attitude was really bad.
What's
Oh, careful. We could be saying that on stream.
Let him
sorry.
hear.
My bad.
His attitude is bad. Hello, Pompous?
Ex-soldier's attitude's good.
Oh.
Alright, GG.
Go.
I'm getting my fantasy points.
You guys can
Rush
go.
me.
Rush me.
Is he
Rush me,
AFK?
Unless
No, they
I
tracked
flip
me.
myself, we will win.
Push Merle out.
Look at you.
Oh, goodness.
I don't even care that my prediction was completely wrong. I just don't even care at this point. Now, one thing before we went to the listed, I mentioned about having to drag tanks back and forth to kind of chip away at their HP.
Yeah.
Dare went for basically the battering ram. They went for the blunt force version of trying to break that strat. Just take them from one side, put all your guns there, and just
Overmatch.
we're head to head. We're going for it right now.
Yeah.
And typically that goes to defender. Now, top tier played that, in my opinion, a little bit sloppy. The 2 mice backing off, they probably should have just gone around, in my opinion, just committed because there was an overmatch in the south.
That was a risky part.
It was a risky, but they made it work.
Yeah.
Could have done it better. But either way, my point is, Dare went for the simple version of trying to break that strat. And even with the Type 5s, it just didn't work. And top tier responded well enough.
Yeah.
And then at the end there, that was really close stuff. And then they played it really well. And I love the decision at the end for Rude to just drive away and just slow down those Type 5s. You can't really, they have tricky armor. They have those EG shell guns.
Yeah.
You can't, with all those low HP tanks, multiple tanks dying in one shot's possibility. So it was overall risky. So I think that was the right call.
But overall, let's take a look at the match from beginning to end. At every single point, top tier felt coordinated. They felt like you could tell that Rude was pushing everyone forward and keeping that focus on. It was in every single battle. Battle 1 was the only time where Dare was able to pick up a win. Other than that, it's been pretty top tier sided. Now, looking at the post-battle stats for this last one, Aggressor and Bird picking up over 4K damage.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Of course, it's Himmelsdorf. we mentioned how many hit points were on the battlefield.
But those two did almost half the HP that top tier brought. They brought 19,000. That was 9,000 between them right then and there. 9,500. So that's literally half the HP. So those two, doing what they can to carry, but not enough. Now looking at the overall damage, because it was a 5-1, rather low across the board, but Delph, Ikako, and Mario all doing 300 plus. I didn't have any of them today, so my fantasy team is SOL.
I had Delph and Mario.
Yeah, I had 1, 2, 3 and Bird, so.
I had Bird and Dark Ninja. Oh, Dark Ninja.
Oh, well,
why?
looking at the second page.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Dark Ninja. Yeah, if anyone had Dark Ninja, he's played very well this season, but tonight was not his night, nor was it Harmless's night.
Tonight was top tier's night.
Yeah, and top tier. They played that so well throughout. This is the top tier I always want to see. I've been really disappointed with them recently. Stuff the early season was unfortunate. Then more recently with Rude gone, they just weren't themselves. They kind of seemed out of it. This is the top tier that I know that they can be, and I've expected out of them this season. And if they can keep this form and keep sharpening themselves and going into like the playoffs like this, then they could be the team that topples Elevate.
They very well could. And the only thing I really want to know about Dare. And I kind of, when we get Rude on, I'm going to ask him about that, is his actual thoughts on his opponent, because Dare didn't feel like they put up as much of a fight as I expected.
Yeah, well, you can ask him about it right now, because he is going to join us.
Fantastic. Welcome back to the show, Rude.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So, we did some listen-ins. Let me go with this one real quick.
You got this.
Because I want to start off. We did some listen-ins throughout, including the end of that last game. And you said something that really struck home to me, is attitude means a lot. Go ahead and go into that a little bit more, because you didn't really talk to your team too much about it other than just saying it means a lot. Why do you think attitude means a lot just in the game world of tanks and in League?
I think attitude means a lot in the office. I think attitude means a lot when you're playing physical sports, esports, where you're with your family. I think attitude is extremely important in every aspect of life, honestly. In school, if you think you're going to fail the test, there's a good chance you're going to fail the test. If you feel like you're not going to score the goal, you're not going to score the goal. You have to have a positive and overall a constructive attitude.
All right, fair enough. That's what I wanted to hear. Now, Randall, you had a question before I cut you off.
So you guys were on top of your game. Thank you again for doing that. It's always a pleasure. What did you think of your opponent today? Do you think that was the Dare you were expecting? Was that underwhelming sometimes, or were they really a challenge for you guys?
Well, Dare's a excellent team with Aggressor. Yeah,
I don't want to say that they're not good or anything. Sorry, Rude. It's putting words in your mouth.
They're really good, and Aggressor is a really good caller. I feel like over the last few games, I had an idea of his style of calling recently, so just kind of played on that a little bit today, and we kind of got lucky a few times.
Okay, yeah, because it was from the bird's eye view that we have, of course, things look very, very different, and just kind of wanted to get that from your perspective. So you think a lot of that came down more so to your knowledge of the other caller and the other team more so than anything that they were lacking. So that's
No, I think that everything that they were running was actually really good. I think the only thing that we were able to take advantage of today was just timings on rotations. That's basically it.
Okay.
All right, the one last question I want to go after. We haven't really talked to the captains too much, or callers too much, about the M48 patents this season. And we saw you bring them a couple times. What's the logic there? Why do you like them? And I mean, they obviously worked tonight, but what do you bring? What do you see out of them?
Statistically, they do well. So why not bring them?
Just that simple?
Yeah, I mean, if you bring them and they pull their weight and provide valuable information and are capable of pushing and sniping and shooting on the move, and sometimes this game is really fast, and sometimes you have to take snapshots, and the patent's pretty good. So
I guess my question is this: is this more of you as a caller deciding what tanks to bring, or is this you're giving your players, this is the role you're playing, what tank do you want to bring in that role? How does that kind of materialize for your team?
Materializes during practice. So if we bring certain tanks in a practice goes poorly, and if we feel like every win during practice is a struggle, every loss is close, then we kind of know that, okay, maybe whatever we're doing is not working. And Jojo and Miro and Delph have been extremely supportive and helpful recently with assisting me with like what's the meta and the lineups that we should be bringing, and I think that made a big difference today.
All right, fair enough. Well, before we let you go, any final thoughts for the fans out there?
Well, I'll be playing hopefully for the rest of the season, so maybe I won't be here for a game or two max, but depends on my travel.
All right, fair enough, Rude. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, congratulations on the win. We will see you later in the week.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.
It's always good to hear from Rude.
He's absolutely great.
Yeah.
I honestly one of my favorite people.
I really love that bit about attitude.
The context it came up in was very strange.
Yep.
But like we were both sitting here watching, and we both were just like, yes, because those are the things that you don't get to hear callers talk about a lot. Most of the time, they're just talking to their team about what we're gonna do, and a lot of them don't address we don't get the opportunity to hear them address certain team cohesion issues like that.
Let me
don't
just say
get to see them lead that way.
I think Rude is very wise, and I think not just his team, but the whole rest of us are the wiser for being around him and getting to listen to him and learn from him. Because I think there's a lot more than just tanks that can be applied from getting to know Rude. So I'll just leave it there.
You're right.
He's pretty top. Now moving on.
He's a cool guy.
Now moving on. Do you have any final thoughts just on the match overall?
I feel like I should have called top tier.
Yeah. If I had known they were going to show up, I would have stacked them on my fantasy team, but didn't. All right, guys. That is going to do it for our first match. Up next, though, we have an even better match than the one we just witnessed. It will be Eclipse versus Elevate, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Eclipse versus Elevate, so strap in. Once again, I'm James Rockstar Grief. That was Random Rookhill Holcomb.
Hey.
Match day 9. We just had a great match of Top Tier versus Dare Rising. It was fun.
Yep, unexpected.
But, that was a great appetizer. Now we have the main course.
Yes, we do. It's Elevate versus Eclipse, the two top teams historically in the league.
Number 1 and 2 for the last 2 seasons.
Yes, however, Eclipse is now number 3. Chances, though, tonight they have the opportunity.
With Dare losing now, they have the chance to get up there. Now, we'll get to that in just a second. We have a few things to go over first. Once again, social media, guys. Follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, and also use the hashtag WGLNA. Send us those memes. We'll try to feature some tweets on the stream here tonight. So let us know who you think is going to win this match and why. We'll try to get it up on there. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. Get on there for the Facebook Live pre-show every single match day, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Get on there for all the fantasy advice or just questions about the league in general. Some of the Gold League players stop by. It's always a good time.
Yep. Of course, also fantasytanks.com. That's where you can go to participate in our fantasy league. Earn points to get yourself prizes, gold, type 59s, what have you. And compete against guys like myself and Rox, also the players in the league who are also quite enthusiastic about it. So go ahead and stop on by there when you get a chance.
Oh, all right, now that all that's out of the way.
Yes.
Elevate versus Eclipse.
Yes.
This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely is. Let's look at Eclipse first. The roster there, led by T1 Diabetic. Players I'm going to be watching tonight from Eclipse are positive, and I was going to say No Nick, but I found out he's benched, isn't he?
Yep, Exo taking the starting spot right now. No Nick has had some internet issues, missed a few practices as well throughout the season, and so Exo stepped in, and I'm not sure what the reason is tonight. I don't know if it's just Exo's won the outright starting spot or No Nick's missing a few practices. We'll make sure to ask T1 about it when we get to the face-off. But then the rest of this team, you have players like Positive, T1, Ledif, who's actually on the bench. Photo Finish is a great heavy tank player, one of the top fantasy point scorers this season as well. And you can't underestimate T1 Diabetic. He's been a great player for Eclipse for the last 3 seasons, really. This season he's been continuing to perform pretty well. So all these players can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these players from Elevate.
And looking at those guys on Elevate, led by Comps off the battlefield, Wallhacks on the battlefield. It is an extreme lineup, as we've said time and time again. Oxmathis Dodoma Vetro being one of the top players right there. And I think we could say there's a reason why every single one of these guys is the best at something.
You could put any single one of these starting 6, even Wallhacks to a certain extent, on your starting fantasy lineup. And no one could really question it. External, great Batchat player. Vetro, great medium tank player. Dodoma, great in pretty much everything, including a lot of tank destroyers. Ox, great heavy tank player. Brett, good in pretty much anything. Canadian Impact, great Batchat and tank destroyer player. They're all players that just can do so well. If you look at this fantasy point standings, average point per game, they're all in the top 20 for the most part. So it doesn't matter, who they're playing. Doesn't matter that they're steamrolling everyone. They have 5-0s this season.
Yeah, they're doing very well. To speak that modestly. And let's take a look at the map picks for this to break some of those down and predict how the match might go. First 2 bans are Cliff and Murrow. No crazy surprise there. Okay, Sand River to start. Sand River, I give that one a little bit to Elevate. Eclipse chooses defense first. And then Proc. Proc, I think Eclipse has a chance there.
Eclipse has typically played very well on Proc. First season finals, when they won, they played a lot of Proc. They've done it pretty well so far this season, so definitely something to keep an eye on. Mines and Ruinberg being banned, no surprise out of either of those. Himmelsdorf, that is a fun one for me because Wallhacks and Elevate for last season, they have been completely dominant on Himmelsdorf, including the 7-0 record on it this season.
Yep.
But also Germ in seasons past. They've Noble, back when he was the main caller for this team, they played it very well then as well. So they have the know-how in Eclipse. Even though Eclipse hasn't played it very well as a team, Germ has the knowledge. If they can bring that into the rest of the team, who knows what we'll see. And then Ghost Town to round it out, and then back to Himmelsdorf for the tiebreaker.
So not a bad lineup of maps for Elevate. Eclipse has got quite a match on their hands. And let's get to the predictions that James and I came up with before the broadcast. Rox was going with a 1-5, giving Elevate the win.
I was wrong already once tonight, so I don't know how that'll pan out.
You tend to give the expected winner a lot of points, and you tend to expect not very much from who is the underdog.
A lot comes in from their recent performances out of both these teams, kind of how I feel about them right now. Elevate, that match versus Dare, they obviously weren't happy. Then they 5-0 Teal Team 6, and I think that was a lot of that was they had sights on this match. They wanted to make sure they were ready for this match. That, you know, not that they're really struggling. They're sitting up with 24 points in first place, but this is one of those matches they want to make sure that they win. And Eclipse, they're so off and on this season. I really struggle to really get behind them just because some games they show up, they look fantastic, and then they turn around and they lose to our last place team with 0 points on the season, 07, and that kind of just really kind of gives me a little bit of doubt about them. I love Eclipse. I love a lot of the players they have on the team. They have a lot of very experienced players, but it's hard to really get behind them right now.
Okay, well, I decided to get behind them a little bit, 3-5. I think this will be close. 3-5 is giving Elevate probably, you know, their best performance against.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt Elevate are favorited right now. They're undefeated for the last, I think, 3 seasons straight. So it's kind of hard to really doubt them. Now, let's go ahead and have both representatives from these teams join us. It is going to be Comps and T1 Diabetic.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard us throw our predictions out there. Rocks really thinks this is going to be one-sided. T1, why isn't this going to be one-sided? Come on, give me some.
I mean, we know that we've been having like a couple rough patch right now, not playing the way we want. We just used our practices the last week or so just to try to work out all those problems and get ready for this one. We know the first match we weren't happy with. I mean, we got out to a good start on proc, so we're just trying to hopefully get everything rounded out and do a lot better this time.
All right. The one other question I had for you, T1, before I forget about it.
Yep.
EXO in your starting lineup, no Nick back on the bench. Is that continued internet issues? Is that missing practices? What's with this change?
No, it's just we just started to play with EXO, and just like communication was a little bit better. But I mean, it's just what we were going with. We just didn't want to change something. Like, I mean, we just been playing with EXO for the last couple matches, so it's like one of those things that
it's working.
We just keep on going with it.
So for the time being, he's won the starting spot, is basically what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for right now, yeah.
All right, Comps, you guys haven't made any changes this whole season. You've had some shaky matches, but overall are still undefeated. So you guys, it seems, are happy with your starting lineup where you sit right now?
Yep, I mean, no changes. We have a striker ready to play, I guess. But so far, nothing needs to change because everything's A-okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because everything is always business as usual, Comps. I guess, like, is there anything that isn't business as usual? I just have to ask because I don't even know, man. You guys are always so perfect, it seems.
Nope. I mean, we practice the same amount, put the same amount of effort getting ready for this match. So, I mean, it should be business as usual.
All right, fair enough. Well, I just want to get this match underway, guys. So I'm going to let you guys both get back to your teams. T1, any final thoughts for Comps and Elevate?
Good luck, have fun.
All right, Comps, any final thoughts for T1 and Eclipse?
Good luck and have fun.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Nice, short, and sweet. We'll see you guys on the battlefield.
All right. That's
bad expected.
Bad expected.
Business from usual from both.
Yeah, I really wish we should just get him to bring us the update. Be like, Comps, what's new? Anything. And he's just gonna have like a list, like I sneezed the other day and I ruined a good shirt, like something like that. I don't know.
You ruin a lot of good shirts, Randall?
No, I'm just coming. I made that up on the fly. I didn't know where I was going. I sneezed, but I didn't know why sneezing was bad, so it had to be on the shirt.
All right, buddy. Yeah. All right. First match, Prokhorovka.
Yeah.
T1 talked about how they started off well on it last time.
Sorry, correction, Sand River.
Or Sand River.
Yeah,
first,
so Proc's second map. Sorry, he brought that one up because but go ahead.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, Sand River, okay, let's go to Sand River in that case.
Yeah.
Map that Elevate hasn't seemed, Elevate seemed reasonably comfortable. They dropped a few rounds on it recently, but overall it was, Eclipse have really struggled on this map, if I recall. I'll have to check that. But
Eclipse has not performed especially well on this map. I did check before. Elevate is expected to win here. They have the results behind them. And
yeah, Eclipse actually have only a 42% win rate on Sand River over 7 games. So
it's not great. They haven't been doing all that great on
So that kind of doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence going into this. However, if they can make it, say, 1-1, which this map being as defensively sided as it is, if you can take that into Prokhorovka, who knows if this will bust wide open or not.
We shall see. As tanks are starting to get readied up, we're just about to get into battle number 1. This will kind of set the pace, or I don't know, man. It depends. If Eclipse starts this off on a good foot, that's awesome for them. If they can pick up a win here in battle number 1, they're going to be on defense. That would be awesome to start this one off. Gives them at least that point on the board. If they lose here, they lose again. We go into Proc next. They'll have to pretty much start racking up a lot of wins from there on.
Now looking at the lineup, it's an i7, 2 5As, a 103B, 2 Batchats, and an M48 Patton coming out from photo finish. So the heavy tank player jumping into the medium. Now to be fair, that's probably the most heavy-like medium we have, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Elevate, 3 5As, 3 Batchats, and a T100 LT. Nothing different for the team of Elevate. The same starting lineup that has started pretty much all season except for 1 or 2 games. Dodoma and external in those 5As, along with Ox Mathis, no surprise there. Batchats, Wallhacks, Vetro, and Animate Lord Brett. In Canadian Impact, opting for that T100. He seems to be the main light tank player for this team, and he's going to start off with a South Scout run as the rest of Eclipse go to the normal defensive spots. Nothing too crazy there.
Yep, we'll just have to see how this develops then. A little just shots coming out here and there, trying to snipe out, get early damage. You know, nothing crazy, nothing outside of the norm. And we'll have to see where some openings happen. Looks like Positive and Dark God Zim are going to be in the north finally. Dark God Zim getting a little push there from his Batchat Positive buddy. And yeah, it's just very slow, standard kind of a defense.
And Dodoma is going to make that cross. Now he might actually find a shot from Dark God Zim, who hasn't spotted him yet. He's trying to find a shot. Wallhacks actually puts one into his front plate, even though he's hold down, and now Dodoma is going to get across safely. And he's actually going to push around towards Germ. He's looking for the shot. And right now, they're just going to go back and forth opposite of each other. Now, Canadian Impact on that T100 scouting around south, and Elevate just holding firm. They have a pretty solid crossfire. They can really cover this 5A from pretty much every angle at this point. If you look at it, 5A sitting in base, the 2 5As in the middle, and the 200 in the south. If anything tries to even touch this 5A or the Batchat of Wallhacks, all these guns can get solid shots. So they're not really at any risk to be where they are right now.
Yeah. So what comes next is the big question here. And shots going out from Dodo. Looks like going north towards Dark God Zim. He's ammo racked actually, and that's going to hurt.
I'm assuming he has a repair kit though in a heavy tank, just to wait for it to come down off of cooldown. So it should just be a matter of another, 60 seconds, and he'll have it back up.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
That's the nice thing about the change to all the consumables now is they all have a much faster. It's not just a one-time use. You don't have to take that gamble of taking multiple repair kits to avoid being permatracked, or if your ammo rack gets damaged early, you can just repair it right then and there. So a welcomed addition to the game indeed.
And there we go. Dark God Zim's getting out of his position.
Ox trying to find the shot.
Nice.
Lands an HE shot, it looks like, onto the side of Dark God Zim for 226.
Yep, Dark God's going to do his thing, just kind of back up, wiggle around and see what's what, and get on out of there. Okay.
And he has that repair kit, just waiting for it to come down off cooldown.
Yep. He's actually going to broadside himself out there. I don't know about that. Ooh, dangerous.
Critical hit on Ox Mathis. And opting to just drive away at this point, and photo finish, it's a track of Dodoma. Hits him at an awkward angle, doesn't do any damage though.
And everyone on Elevate still at full health.
And they're pushing straight up and over towards that 2-cap. They're getting aggressive. Now Germ is about to be isolated. He's going to be in a world of hurt. He's going to turn and drive, but look at the focus fire on to Germ, and now he's just sitting there trying to play the hold down as best he can, but Dodoma should come off a reload and get the kill. And actually, Wally in the Batchat.
Nicely played. All right. And with that, position's taken. Nice control, well executed, all at once. Nice violence of action.
They did get some good damage into Ox and Dodoma, so they're not completely out of it. But now Dark God Zim still taking more damage up in the north.
Yeah, he's playing a lot more aggressive than he probably needs to be.
Still hasn't repaired that ammo rack. Oh, you know what? That's not his ammo rack. That's his loader. That's why he hasn't done it. He doesn't have a first aid kit. So that's his loader. So that's ammo rack.
Ah. Always get those symbols mixed up here.
Yep.
Photo taking some damage, trying to go up against Vetro. A turret not servicing him well enough.
Not hold down enough in this position. They can still get shots on his front plate.
And they have the high ground. Nice advantage there. Drock having the I-7 also taking damage against Canadian Impact, it looks like.
Yeah. He's just being annoying enough to kind of keep Drock from moving where he wants to go without getting free damage. So well played by Canadian Impact. Even if he doesn't do damage, he's really making Drock really work for this right now and keeping him out of the fight long enough for the rest of his team to really move around.
Yeah, because they really need that I-7 somewhere else right now. He's a really big heavy tank that honestly needed on the front lines.
A bounce off a photo finish.
Oh, Canadian's playing it perfectly. Nice. He's going to leave Draka behind. He's not able to assist as well as he could have, really cutting down his potential damage.
Goes, like
and now Crossfire
600.
onto wall hacks. This is nicely played. Positive in the high ground. Knows that Brett's in the backfield. Dodges one from Brett. Nicely
And this
played.
is really even on HP. Now there's 2 extra guns alive for Elevate, but the HP is really close.
Yes, it is. And I think you can really give the advantage, though, still to Elevate. They should be able to finish this one out, especially if they can connect their shells. But when Dodo misses a shot like that and gets caught out in the open, he's going to go down.
I've questioned Positive's batch-out play so far this season, but very, very solid and composed there. And now External is going to try to bully T1 Diabetic. Drock not really in a position to support. External's just going to push around. They're getting what shots off they can, but T1 Diabetic's taking a majority of the damage from the batch-outs in the north. And External gets the kill shot.
Nicely
played. They lost Dodo earlier, so it's only a 4v6 right now, still in favor of Elevate.
Vetro's moving to the high ground. And
Canadian Impact's closing in on Drock. He's going to start trading. He actually sets him on fire with the first shot, and Drock's going to burn.
Oh, that really hurts. Although he does dip low enough hit points to get a nice quick reload. And he's able to put out a little extra damage before he will inevitably go down.
Canadian Impact picking it up, as Vetro does pick up Exo.
Vetro then moves on to Dark God Zim, trying to find a shell there, but of course the Batchet's poor gun depression is making that a problem, and one more shell, and he's got it. There he goes, picking up another kill. Only Positive remains. Last Eclipse tank alive for battle number 1. And a very one-sided start here for Elevate. Yes, a lot of tanks took damage, but got to give it to Elevate. They spread that damage quite well, kept tanks alive, and did a better job of focusing.
Really, really good map coverage by Elevate. They really understood what Eclipse was going for. They kept their guns together. Very decisive pick onto Germ. Very understood, hey, this is the one spot where he can go where they really can't cover him. Now, they did get, I wouldn't say they couldn't cover him, but they really couldn't punish him that well. Only got a few shots off of damage, and they got the free pick onto the 5A. And then after that, it just kind of snowballed out. They had control in the south. Hats off to Canadian Impact. He only did, how much damage this game? Canadian Impact, where are you, buddy? 1,800 damage, but he really stalled a lot of those tanks from getting into the fight. He kept Brett in that I-7 out of the fight or Drock for way longer than he should have.
Yeah.
And he played that perfectly. He didn't overcommit. He didn't try to take pokes when he knew tanks had that angle already lined up. It just made him worry about him the whole time. It was just great, fantastic play out of a light tank.
And, well, I think that one's going to set a nice tempo for this one because it showed us that both teams are going to be playing more serious strats, ones that generally rely on just an opening position and then flex or improv, as it were. And altogether, it didn't look like Elevate had to do all that much improvising this time. They just had to play a straightforward strategy,
and
keep working your angles.
That was defense for Eclipse, so now they have to attack try to get around, and that's going to be a bit harder. Now look at damage. Ox, 3K, 27 fantasy points. Wall hacks, 2,500, 2 kills, 37 fantasy points. Positive, top damage dealer for Eclipse, 2K, 1 kill, 50 fantasy points. And then Canadian Impact. Best way I can describe that round is he was every heavy tank driver's nightmare that game. Pretty much the easiest way I can put that one. Photo finish, 1,600, 40 fantasy points. T1 Diabetic doing what he can. Dodo, Brett, getting focused out fairly early on, doing their part, and then Brett, Germ, and Dark God Zim all going down.
Yep. And now we get ready to switch sides and see how that's going to happen. Well, good luck to Eclipse. They're going to need it. Elevate looks like they're ready to play today. They're not taking Eclipse for granted. And Eclipse is going to give them all they got with 3 5As and 4 Bat Chats against Elevate's 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, a Bat Chat, a Patton, and a T100 LT.
Out of Eclipse, this lineup says bully, is what this says to me. This says one direction very, very aggressively. Now, they may change it up. That's just what the lineup speaks to me, but they may try to go for some sort of split, send some 5As one direction, some the other, use the Bat Chats differently, but...
I know, I see where you're going with it, though.
It's going to be a 3-3-1 split is basically how it's going to work out. T1 straight up the middle, 5As following, and 3 Bat Chats in the north.
Wallhack spotting T1 Diabetic, gets a little intel before he decides to turn back. And with that, T1's going to get up to the mid-normal position. Patton. I like this. Vetro getting into position. Going to use the advantages here of that, which are view range. Looks almost finds a shell into T1 Diabetic. I cannot stress how close that was to connecting. The gun depression on a Patton is nice enough that it can actually dependably do these things. Nice shot. We've got positive, draw cap, Exo, all spotted moving up. And that's actually going to be a huge tell. Elevate's going to be able to pull Ox Mathis and Vetro back without risking them going down to an opening volley. And with that, the 5As show up just in time, and almost everyone from Elevate is going to get out safe and sound.
The problem is Dodoma is in that IS-7 hold down in the north, and that is a long path to crossing those bad chats, so they are going to take a lot of damage as they try to aggress through here. Now, they are trying to find some picks towards the heavy tanks in the south, but they're not going to find those angles. Now, the position they're in right now is enough to hold to maybe get some cap pressure going. It is enough to cover those angles and punish them if they try to poke the cap.
But
however,
Vetro's already done 1,700 damage.
Exactly. They're bleeding a lot for this right now. They're down 5,000 HP already, so this is not looking good for Eclipse.
No, it is not. Another Batchat's actually running around to go to the 1 cap, possibly. That's T1. Takes a shell on the way out, although Elevate knows he's leaving. So this is just great for them. They've got all the position, they've got all the intel. They reacted perfectly when they saw Eclipse's first big push, and now, and Vetro's even in position for the main Batchat push out of Eclipse. He gets a shell into to positive, and now he's going to put one into Exo. He even gets to back off into hold down. He's taking a lot of fire, though. Nice play from Eclipse, good response, but not quite enough to take Vetro down. Dodoma, though, is finally taking quite a bit of damage up there in the north. You were worried about him, I know, a minute ago, but he's holding on.
And looking at it right now, all these tanks just taking so much damage.
And T1, draw cab, Exo are down. There's 3 alive, and this looks, it's going to be an ace. It looks like an ace, man.
I don't like to call games early, but this is over. I mean, this was over a while ago.
Elevate has just shown us what they do and how easy it looks when you make those right decisions. That's it. It's easy. It looks really easy when Elevate does it.
One tank pretty much just spoiled this whole strat for Eclipse. The Dodoma in that IS-7 up north, he shuts down the whole north with Batchats. Well, they can't do anything against that. They can't push into it. They'll take too much damage, and they'll get supported from the south. And if they sit there, they're playing corner games with a hold down IS-7. That sounds like a great idea. So it's just that one tank just being there is just
enough. But on top of that, you had Vetro running around in a pattern, being in the right place at the right time every time.
Well, it's just what Vetro does, though. That's expected out of Vetro on every map ever.
You're right, but it's one of those things that you have to just notice and you appreciate it. That's why Elevate's very good. It's not only that IS-7 in the north that you're talking about. It's also the pattern moving in to put damage on those tanks attacking him. It's also everybody who knows all the perfect angles and when to go for them, and no matter what Eclipse did, because every play from Eclipse was solid, right? Their 5A push was coordinated, their Batchat push was all on time. Like no one was really throwing anything away or making huge mistakes. Just Elevate knew it was coming already. They already knew it was going to happen, and they're just psychic like that.
Yep, and Vetro that game put up some massive amount of damage. Not mind-blowing, but 3,600 for Sand River is not bad at all, along with 3 kills and 108 fantasy points. So the over 50% of the league that put him on their roster is going to be quite happy with that return. Canadian Impact, another 74 fantasy points. Dodoma coming in there pretty strong, 2,600, 61 fantasy points. And then Ox doing another 1,700. And Photo Finish top damage dealer for Eclipse, 2,400, 50 fantasy points.
Are you surprised? I mean, today is, of course, Photo Finish, one of the best heavy tank players in
Yep, he's been around for a long time and has always been a consistent damage dealer. Just main heavy tank player since the back of the 742 days.
Oh, yeah. That's solid stuff. Now we're going to move on to Proc. You wanted to talk about Proc at the beginning of the match.
Now we get a chance to talk about it.
Now we get to talk about it. So what did you want to say when it came to Proc, sir?
This is where these two teams can really collide. Now, Eclipse, though, they need to get some momentum going on this map, because if they don't, that's going to be a 4-0 going into the next map after this is going to be Himmelsdorf, which is, if it's even, if it's like 2-2, I think they can go toe-to-toe on Himmelsdorf, but going into it 4-0 after being defeated on a map that you picked, that's brutal.
So what you're saying is Eclipse must win. Or
Eclipse need at least one win right now, if not winning both, to really have a chance in this match overall.
And they'll be bringing 4 5As to do that, an Object 263, 2 Batchats, and Elevate, 2 I7s, 2 Sturves, some Batchats, and that 103B played by Vetro. What do you think, James?
2 103Bs. Also have Anime Lord Brett.
No, yeah, sorry, thank you. They showed up on different spots on the UI. That was weird. They usually show up grouped.
And it looks like we are going to see another struggle bus as all these tanks go over towards the one line.
Choo-choo train of death.
What I would have to guess is 263 out in front. Use that frontal armor. It's quick enough. Push it with some other tanks. Have everyone else cover.
Use the Batjets and Wolf Packet.
Yep.
The positions out of Elevate to counter this. Dodoma's going to be in an uncommon bush, which is actually a tree knocked down as cover. He's got optics, no camo net. And covering him are Enemy Lord Brett, Vetro, External. Down the lane, on the other side of the map, you've got Ox Mathis and Canadian Impact. So 2 tanks unable to support, and a third, Wallhacks, not quite able to support, spotting way out on the east side
They're
of the
playing
map.
very passive. The most forward tank on the whole entire map right now is over at D8 in the Batshot, and then the next one's C1. So they are giving up a lot of the map, and this choo-choo train of death is just going, and it's actually going to be the 5As out in front with the 263 trailing.
And Batchat's using extra horsepower to keep those 5As up to speed. Important to note, when you want to get heavy tanks faster somewhere, you
now
put a
look
few
at this.
Batchats
Now they
down.
have 2 Sturfs, so they have really high DPM, but 3 tanks for Elevator out of this fight. This is an overmatch for Eclipse if they can exploit it fast enough. And Dodoma's getting caught out in that bush, taking a lot of damage from all those tanks firing on the move. 263 getting a few shots, but now the return fire is coming in, and they need to get close enough to spot these STRVs, or they are going to get torn apart.
Yep. Although External is going to stay out ahead in the IS-7, try and hopefully hold things up. Normally, players will just kind of naturally find some cover. Positive, though, looks like he's just going to clown car it in. Just trying to make as much of a distraction of himself
He's
as
going
he
to
can.
spot both STRVs. That's what they need. This is a toll that they're willing to pay. He's just going to drive right at him. He's going to go down, but that's going to allow Eclipse to get off the damage that they need. And they are going to close, and they are up right now by about 1,500 HP. They're going to push around. They're going to get the side shots onto External here. But they're going for Brett first, making sure to get that STRV out, take the high DPM out of the game.
And there goes down Brett, but in exchange, that's Germ. External, though, is still alive, and looks like Canadian Impact has decided to join the fight with a fully loaded Batjet. There he's able to take down Exo. External fights well against Dark God Zim, and Photo's going to try and chase him up. Nice bounce onto External, keeps him alive for another shell, and it doesn't look like anybody's put enough attention towards him quite yet. Photo, though, bounces a crucial shell. That would have been the kill, and there we go. Lots of damage wasted trying to take down that IS-7. That leaves Wallhacks and Ox Mathis still alive as the 2 remaining tanks for Elevate against the 4 of Eclipse. So ultimately successful on that push. Now it's cleanup time. And hit points wise, you got double, a little less than double.
Earlier I criticized Top Tier for not committing onto that I-7 and not just taking the toll and just going for it, trying to play those corner games. What Eclipse just did there with Positive, some may see it as reckless, but that was doing what they needed to make sure had happened, which was get those STRVs lit. They made sure that they got spotted, and then they took them out. That was a toll that they said ahead of time. We are going to pay this. We know it, but we are going to go for it. They didn't hesitate. They pushed in, and that may have just won them the game right now.
Ox Mathis getting pinched. Photo finish moves in, trying to get the kill. Ox Mathis bounce.
Wallhacks trying to do what he can in the back, but bouncing too many shots. And now they know he's down there, so T1 Diabetic and that 263 is just going to drive straight at him. Dark God Zim's going to come over up behind, get the kill. And now it is all down to Wallhacks, who is spotted in front of all 4 guns for Eclipse. And this should be a shooting gallery for them. His shots are going to start coming in. Another connection, and it looks like maybe Photo Finish will pick up the kill.
Might be T1. No, it is going to be Drawcab. And that's going to be it. Eclipse puts 1 on the board. Great for them. Elevate went with a very conservative strat. I think you noted that. They traded a lot of risk, but
that's the definition of a high risk, high reward strat. That's banking on those 2 STRVs staying alive long enough and pumping out enough damage that they can live with only 4 tanks on that side of the map.
And you're hoping to get a lot more intel before your opponent decides to push. Because Eclipse decided to go with a more aggressive strat, they actually did something that Elevate wasn't quite prepared for. They weren't prepared because they didn't end up winning, and that was a little more one-sided than you would expect from any match against them.
And like I said, Eclipse took all 7 of their guns down there, and they said, hey, we're going to pay that toll right now. And they just pushed Positive in there, just straight in. Look, I'm going to die. But the thing is they said, you're going to die, but make sure you light both those STRVs so the rest of us can kill them. There's still 6 guns alive. And from that point on, it's just snowballed out.
Yeah, they knew exactly how to take the engagement. Most of the time when it comes to fighting on different parts of the map, you understand that generally there will be certain tanks in certain positions, and you need to deal with that. Often enough, those tank destroyers just using camo need to get spotted. Really basic stuff that these guys have just applied right there. And it's just a simple lesson to understand. You're helping your battle buddies out by just getting that spotting.
The common term for it, more or less, is called breaking turrets.
Yeah.
Very, very similar concept. It's a little bit different in that case, but it's basically the same principle. It's pushing in, getting around, making them turn their turrets, focus on someone else so the rest of the teammates can get in there and get their guns into the fight.
Yeah, get into the right positions and settle. Good hold downs, maybe even take a risk and go into the open for a second.
And now looking at the damage, Drock coming in here with 3,100 damage, 62 fantasy points. External in that IS-7, 87 fantasy points, 3K, 1 kill. T1 Diabetic in that 263, cleaning up the kills. 3 of them there, 72 fantasy points. And then Photo Finish, another 2,458. Ox, Brett, and Canadian Impact rounding it out for Elevate on the first page. Second page, nothing too surprising outside of seeing Petro down there, but he was in one of those stirrups that got focused out, and he still got 40 fantasy points and 1,300 damage.
Ouch,
which
Dodo.
Yeah, Dodo in the bat chat. Well, that's not surprising though. He was the passive scout that got caught out in the open early on, so you know, that's going to happen.
It hurts when you see a good player like that get just completely wiped out. That's another factor right there. Is he didn't get to help. He was just completely destroyed.
He just didn't give them enough warning just being so far back, and I think he even had binos on, but just
no,
didn't
it was
spot him
just
right
optics.
On top.
It's just optics, and that angle he was viewing from, it's impossible to spot any further. So what it was is it's one of those hard spotting angles where you know once they pass the certain line they'll get spotted, but the risk you run is the out. There wasn't a very good escape route, and that's kind of the trouble there.
Yep. Now looking at it, Eclipse going into battle number 4, 2 I-7s, a 5A, a Foch B, an STRV, and 2 Bat Chats. Elevate 3 I-7s, a Sturv, and 3 Bat Chats of their own. Once again, Brett, Impact, and Wallhex down there, and it's actually going to be Vetro jumping into the STRV. Tank very fitting for him.
Yep. Deals plenty of damage. He's good at positioning and reading the battlefield, so he knows where to be and when to do it. And that's him. So, opening moves. We've got Bat Chats, Canadians heading toward the mid. We've got Wally. I thought he would be further ahead. Wally heading towards a mid scout as well. Canadian does a nice conservative loop, not going too far out there. Wallhack's a little bit more aggressive on his loop. Spots Photo Finish, and that's it. He's going to back off.
Now look at how much more aggressive Eclipse are being. Look at how much further the Bat Chat. He's 200 meters further down than Dodoma was last game.
Yes, he is. And in what is still considered, by the way, Dark God Zim's still in what's considered relatively conservative spotting position. Where he is actually, as opposed to, we're going to fly a little camera stuff right here. Dark God's in this bush. Normally you would go up on the hill.
You see that a lot in pub matches, especially.
Yeah, this is aggressive. You have to book it there at the beginning of the battle and avoid the mid-scout from wall hacks in order to get here safely. But once there, you can spot the parts of the middle of the map and even further down, but the escape is dangerous. Where Dark God Zim is...
He's already in the low ground where he can get out quickly.
Yeah.
And
once he spots things,
done shooting on him.
He just turns it around and books it that way.
Is he not already turned around? It's kind of hard to see in that bush.
Where's your... Yeah, that's the front.
Yep, that's the front of his tank.
Yeah,
so he's already turned around.
He's a good boy. Good job, Dark God Zim.
Positive doing the same thing, and we're going to see the Foch B. He looks like he's going to go up to either A8 or maybe all the way up to that A0 pocket. Foch B
doing his
advantage point for that tank. Get that whole clip, the 6 shots out. It's a lot of damage in that tank.
Yep. And this one's going to slow down. Exo's in the mid. Hey, HE external for 23 hit points. Not bad. Fun little HE always deals damage. And he's going to load HE again. Go, Exo, go.
Chipping away what he can. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult for Elevate just because of how spread these tanks are. Trying to find this overmatch is going to be difficult. Now, while there are overmatches present, the main thing that's going to make it difficult for Elevate to really exploit it is they're in good positions to have early warnings. So even if they're going to spot any push that Elevate's going to do early enough on, that they'll have time to rotate their guns around, which is a little bit different than what we saw out of Dare Rising earlier in that match versus Top Tier.
All right, so what's the next big move? You know what? James, let's take a listen in with Elevate. I want to see what they're talking about, what they're thinking, and what they're planning on doing.
I'm feeling that too, actually.
I'm gonna do what now?
We're gonna push these 2 7s in like we did towards the 3 line, and then we'll move.
Yeah, I can stay here maybe. I don't know.
So
Brett.
we're gonna get in the
What's up?
thing, and we'll put.
Once we do that, you gotta be aware of this guy. You
Yeah,
probably
I'm
try
gonna
to
be
get
fucking leaving right away.
All right, so
crossing just right here.
don't
We're going
leave.
through the
hold
bowl,
on,
right?
hold on.
You'd have to help me if you push.
Yeah, just
Yes,
wait.
I know.
Exo's gonna light me.
Oh, I just got lit.
I mean, if
too.
I see anything, I'm gonna hide.
He just lit me.
All right, so how do we do this? We do
I'm gonna
this
cross
this
over
way.
this way.
Do we put them down the 2 line or up into the 3 line?
The 3 line.
I think 3 line, just go through the bowl.
And force the TDs to basically.
If he does the same peak, I'm
press
shooting
up.
him. I didn't shoot last
I'm
time
gonna
because I
go
didn't want him
I'm
to
gonna
see
go
me.
6
Get
line.
ready to do this, boys.
Remember, they have an
Dodo,
IS7.
just come up.
IS7.
Yeah.
They probably have a Wheezy on the 2 line with the TDs behind. If we force the TDs to poke up on the 3 line, it'll be easier shots. We just need to live in the 3 line.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the
Survive as long
bowl.
as
We're gonna go
possible.
through the bowl and over the 3 line.
Yeah, we did in practice.
Okay.
Oh, I got
Just be
lit.
aware that you will get shot.
There's somebody pushed up close.
Okay, well we'll light him when we push in.
He's
Probably
low
Zen.
ground D1 or
Just
in
probably
the
won't light him.
D2. Get ready to move in. They see me
Probably
rotating
save
out.
our
I'm
shot
getting
for this
shot
guy.
at.
We should probably save our shot for that guy. So.
Probably the I7 midstream.
I hit
Get ready to do
EXO
it. Yeah,
again.
go,
I hit
go, go.
EXO. I hit EXO.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
EXO's half health.
I'm gonna poke up
We'll
in
know
the
if he's a
middle.
D2 guy right now. He's not D2.
No, he's gotta be here. Can we scoot over just a little bit so we can?
Go back.
I want to see if we light this guy. We're pushing in still.
They're looking 2 line.
What's the
well,
Wheezy?
let's get
Oh, there's bat.
Shoot the
Two
back.
bats. There's Sturv back there too. Sturv's back here as well. He's up high.
Focus the back.
Perma-tracked high.
Focus the
I'm
back.
perma-tracked high. Fox shot 2.
Going.
Shot me.
Fox shot 3. Fox shot 4.
Where's this guy?
Boshby is in A6. He shot 5. Foch shot 5. He's up here.
We have to kill things.
I know.
I'm trying to shoot photo and from mid hillocks.
Say that again? Okay.
I'm shooting photo.
Guys
We
need to
gotta-
kill Dark God.
We gotta kill the Wheezy.
Dark
I'm
God's
1
a
shot. I'm
2-shot.
3. We can't let their other back come in.
I'm reloading.
We need to kill.
shoot A7.
I can't.
Foch.
Bat's
Bat
coming
is
in.
killing.
Bat.
Fox. I'm loading for 20.
I'm gonna die to him.
He's
I'm
low.
gonna pull for a shot on EXO.
He should come from me instead. I'm
You
moving
got
in,
it,
moving in.
Impact.
I bounced off.
I got him,
I
I
can't
got
kill him. You gotta kill him.
There.
One shot.
Boshby's shooting.
Boshby
him,
shot
got
2.
Service shooting.
Wait for me to load. Where's the
I'm reloading.
Boch
Service
has
up here.
4. Boch has 4.
He just fired one more on me.
Service still there.
I'm gonna go this
2?
way.
Boch has
We gotta kill the 7 and Bat.
Brett's. Don't worry, we're fine.
I'm gonna go A6 if possible.
Yeah, do it.
Boch has
Let
2
Brett
shots.
work.
I'm gonna shoot the building down, okay? I'm gonna shoot the building
Hold on.
down.
Don't forget about the
Everybody's
serve.
moving.
Don't forget about the
Everybody's
serve.
moving.
Veteran needs
Everybody's
to farm.
moving.
Where's the
If you
Sturv
can
right
shoot
now?
him, I can-
The serve was last year. He was
Alright.
shooting.
Yeah, he's up here.
If this I7 pokes
There.
over.
Oh
Serve,
shit, the
serve.
Sturf.
Serve shooting Dodo.
You shoot him again.
He's gonna probably kill me, yeah.
He's on fire.
Oh, that's
my
nice.
God.
He's mad.
I'm gonna pull back and get safe here from the Foch.
That's the type of shit that's tilting.
shit, I
The
don't-
Foch is -1. He's -2.
Your Brett has to
Brett
like.
has to.
You can Brett light.
I7.
No
Pass
shot.
him. Low roll.
Dark God shot 2.
Zimma's 1 shot.
I bounced off him.
They have 2 1-shots.
Can you
I didn't
get
get
the
lit.
7?
Just don't die.
You can't, dude. I
Yeah,
have to
don't
reload
peek it.
again. I could get on the fucking.
They might push down the 2 line.
7's in the
because Foch-
bushes.
Yeah, I'm backing
The
up. I'm
Foch
backing
is
up.
full health.
No, he's 1400.
Brett had to win that right there.
I low rolled the 7.
And I
I could have
bounced
killed
off
him
the-
and
Hold on,
Zim.
there's still a decent chance.
Wally could get on 2 cap for now. Oh, never mind.
Oh, there's the 7. He needs to die.
He can get YOLO'd there.
Can you hit him, Vetro?
Go the
He's out
bypass.
of range.
Vetro's watching the 1 line.
He's behind the broken down
Wally-
train that's on the
okay.
side.
There it is.
Dude, like,
Nice. Sturv,
They're gonna
they have
push.
3 1-shots. 3 1-shots.
I think
know.
Vetro has the Sturf here.
Just get into mid, Wally. Like, it's the only.
Back in the middle, turret this guy.
Foch?
Wally, you gotta get in.
Vetro, 2 side.
You just gotta go, Brett. You
Yeah,
gotta
go
kill
for
him.
gotta kill at 7.
Bat's there too. Bat's gonna
Bat
be on the
shot
2 line.
mid as well.
You guys
Bat is
have
close
to
here.
kill this
Guys
guy
like
now.
this way.
Foch is clipping on.
Foch
I
is-
have 1 shot. Brett
I'm
has
reloading.
to do it.
I'm
Like,
loading
I'm
as well
1
now.
shot this whole time.
Both shot 3s. Try to hold.
Ridiculous.
Play vision games right now.
What vision
reload.
games they have 2 line?
Okay,
Could get Brett on
Don't
cap.
buy. I'll load. And then move in.
It's 2 minutes. It's too late. You had.
All right.
All right. Looks like Elevate's struggling right there to find the answer.
Eclipse playing pretty well in Prokhorovka. Said they needed 2 rounds. Looks like they're going to get it. And Brett doesn't know where Wax. Oh, that's his own teammate he's rolling up on. Never mind. For some reason, I thought that was Dark God Zim still alive.
I'm the colorblind one. Dude, come on.
Now he's going to push over, but he doesn't know where Dark God Zim is this time. As Brett drives out into the open, Dark God Zim fires 1. It's going to end up going down.
On the move shot. And he's still, Brett's alive. There we go. Okay, this is back. Anime Lord Brett
This
and
is doable.
Wally
This is
have this.
2 bat chats.
Yeah. And all that has to happen is, let's take a look. Where's Drawcab looking? Drawcab's looking.
But now they know where Wallhax is. Now he kicks up, and Drock takes him down.
Nicely done.
They need to be careful with that one.
They know the general area that Brett's in. And this is a tricky situation because Brett has to go up and over some cover in order to actually even approach. And by the way, remind you,
Elevate's attacking.
Exactly. So time's not on their side. Now he's not lit. He might be able to just peek on over, but the problem is this: he's up against a Foch, and a Foch of all tanks is probably one of the hardest to deal with because it also has an autoloader. And Brett doesn't realize that both of these guys are together.
He gets T1.
And a low roll will save him for now. He does not know where the
3
Foch is.
HP in the dream. We've seen it before, but not this time.
Nope.
That is going to be Drock taking down Brett to tie it up 2-2.
All right, so that means Eclipse has a better place in this. This is going to end at least in Ghost Town now. So we're going to have to see how Himmelsdorf goes. If Eclipse can do anything with Himmelsdorf, they've got a chance. But before I get into Himmelsdorf, let's talk a little bit more about this last battle. All right, so your assessment overall, James. It seemed like Elevate went for their attack, but ultimately they had a lot of trouble succeeding.
They paid a pretty high toll. It looks like they were ready to pay that toll, but Eclipse made a lot of their shots count. They had pretty good coverage, and the attempt that Eclipse or Elevate went for kind of just played into them with the Foch being that Sturf back there. They got off a good bit of damage. Drock actually picked up 4 kills that game, so you know they were just pretty good coverage, and everyone on the team of Eclipse did their part for the most part, anyways. They all got off some pretty good damage, so you know it was just good cover fire from each other. It really worked it down. It was close. It was really low HP for either team at the end. It could have gone either way at the end there. There was a moment where Elevate may have won it, but the second Wallhacks got spotted and caught out, it was pretty much over. They needed both those alive to really break those turrets.
Yep.
Now looking at it, Vetro coming in here, 3,700 damage, 86 fantasy points. T1, and then the other STRV, another 3,300, 68 fantasy points.
Then it's the IS-7s.
IS-7s of Ox, Exo, and Photo finish. No surprise there. On the second page, Dodo, another IS-7, but then the ones to look at, Positive and Canadian Impact down there in the bottom. Batchats just got focused out early on, tried to go for the pushes, didn't really able to get off much damage.
They're really dangerous, you know? You got to watch for that. And focusing out Batchats is probably one of the most effective things you can do early on.
They're soft, and they have a lot of bursts. So if you can take them off before they can get their clip off, then it's worth it. If you know that the Batchat's going to fire its whole clip, then you focus something else.
Exactly.
Just depends on how many guns you have on the situation, because you know it has the reload. So you have to decide early and quickly, is that Batchat going to be able to get off all 5 of its shots? Yes or no?
And can we kill it before it runs away?
Yeah, or before it fires all its shots, either way.
One of the two.
It depends on the situation. There's more things that come in there, but we'll get back to that another time. We move on to Himmelsdorf. Elevate Stomping Ground. 2 mice, a Type 5, an IS-7, a 50B, an E3, and a Batchat for Elevate. Eclipse, on the other hand, 2 mice, a Type 5, a 113, a 5A, an E3, and a Batchat of their own.
All right, well, with that lineup, plenty of hit points on either side. About 17, actually, sorry, same number of hit points on both sides. I should clarify. Exactly the same, 17,250. Still a few different tanks making up that group. And opening moves, James. It looks like nice west side aggression from Eclipse on defense, as opposed to something on the east or more conservative. Looks like that 113 is going to be going down to, I expect, the G line, where he will play the classic window position that we've seen 113s and 5As play in the past, where he'll have some wider cover with a Batchat of 5A. Mouse of Type 5 will take up more traditional defensive positions further back. And there we go, Positive spots external, and is going to be searching for a place to put a shell into him. Lines it up, shot out and gets it. 436 right at the start of a battle, less than a minute in, and a second shell for 512. It's going to take out, looks like that's a commander and optics damaged on that IS-7. So with that, jump to the IS-7. I want to see if he has a kit. Did External bring a kit, James?
He has 2 kits.
Two repairs?
Yep.
And rations?
Playing a bold game there. No fire extinguisher and no first aid.
Especially in a game where you know HE is going to be a factor. You're going to lose crew members.
An HE shot, speaking of it, coming out from one of the mice. Landing just short, not getting any damage on External.
And there's a push-up, Type 5, moving up the 8 line. Let's see what's up with that. Wally is that tank. And with that, does that say that cap pressure is going to start? Canadian, let's ask you. Canadian impact, Batchet. He's kind of playing out near the cap, but he's decided not to touch it yet.
I want to take a moment to remind people that Elevate's undefeated for the last 2 seasons in a row. They're undefeated so far this season. And right now, Eclipse are 2-2 with them. And they're doing pretty good early on. They're up 2,000 HP. Getting some chipping away at External here. Wallhack's taking a shot. Are Elevate in trouble?
They're not exactly in a great place. External's taking way more damage than he needs to, and I don't know why. He does get, that's 536 into Exo.
That's a nice snapshot.
Yeah, although that's not from the mid as well, is it? Because I think I see some of those mice in the south. Were they looking? Yeah, they are actually looking to cover.
The angle's going to favor actually External though for Exo, because those 2 mice aren't going to have the greatest angle if he's just looking at External.
This is true. Well, they're just kind of watching, waiting, because what this is just kind of a fake. Usually what you're going to see is a lot more tanks in the north, but the point of this is just to put a Batchet on cap and force the reaction from Eclipse, because what they're going to gear up for is the traditional like counter cap play, right? But if you can look over here, you can see the Canadian's actually just about alone. Wally is in a Type 5 we're not going to get into that right now, but he'll be leaving. And this is going to prompt a crazy push. Now the counter and the crazy play is that Ox, Mathis, and Brett, Ox is actually spotted, are looking north, so they're going to stop anyone from crossing. And, well, I haven't seen this play out before in a pro match, so we're going to have to see how the reactions go. If Eclipse decides to respond, there we go, pushing out. Exo takes about half his hit points just to pay the toll. We're going to watch and see who's next. If another tank comes there, Exo's even down further. He's got 490.
Dark God Zim's not even spotted till now. Now Canadian Impact's going to get caught out on the cap. He's going to take a lot of damage, and he's going to have to choose to drive away right now. He's actually going to stay on cap, trying to get the pick onto Exo. And Dark God Zim actually puts one into the building, and Impact's going to pick up that kill.
Nicely done. Now Exo's pretty much alone. Wally's going to move up, and he decides, yeah, I don't really care about your armor. I'm a Type 5. Positive is next. Positive moves out into the open, looks for a shell. Does not.
And the mice are going to drive straight across the courtyard for Elevate. Join up in the north.
Nice play. So what you did there was you just were able to force damage in a place that normally doesn't happen.
Well, you talked about it earlier during the top tier versus Derek game, making your opponent have to move to respawn to 1 cap and set up the punish. That was exactly that. Got good damage there on the cross, had a few guns ready for it, and now they're giving up on that side. Actually, they're sending more tanks over to that side now that they know that they have that weak spot, but they're also taking control over on the 2-3, so they're trying to spread out this defense and really chip away at them at all sides as they try to rotate around, and this is what you have to do. And if you look up the hill, it looks like it's Drawk getting isolated out in the north. No, it's not even Drawk. Who is that? That's Positive that went down.
Yep, Positive going down. Germ's taking a little damage as he pressures onto the D line, but he's going to be forced to back off as he notices, oh, hey, the Mousen are here. Brett and Ox have decided to show up. Look at that, though. Drawcab moving around to the south, trying to come up with an alternate angle. Maybe help his battle buddy out. Puts 1 shell into Ox. Nice roll for just under 500. Although Germ does not have much he can deal with at this point. It's kind of dangerous for him. Although Draw's doing as much as he can. And there we go. Germ's going to go down. Drawcab's pretty much alone. Cut off from the rest of his team. Photo Finish also alone. Cut off. And
he's on fire, it looks like?
No, not quite.
Impact picks up the kill in the back.
And Drawcab's it. And with that, that's going to be a win probably here for, well, yes, it's going to be a win for Elevate. Just a
Silly
moment.
Rockstar. Elevate aren't in trouble. They're undefeated for a reason.
Yeah, just
They'll pull it back.
hold your horses there for a second. A loss is a loss, and they have to, especially a team's this good. Eclipse can't be, you shouldn't be surprised if Eclipse picks up a few.
Oh, it'll happen eventually, but it's a matter of when.
Yeah, but also don't be surprised when a team this good picks up a few wins here and there. You know, I was going for a 5-3 because I think Eclipse can put those numbers on the board, you know? Like, yes, ultimately I don't expect them to win over this. Elevate has a lot going for them, and the team that's shown up today looks like they should be able to do just that. If they put one more win here on Himmelsdorf, that means they have 2 more tries on Ghost Town to figure this out. And if it goes to a tiebreaker, then, you know, so what for Elevate? No one's going to catch them.
Well, and actually, Ghost Town is Eclipse's best map. So
Yeah.
if there's a map for them to force a tiebreaker on, that would probably be the one, but it would be even better if they could just tie it up 3-3 right now onto Himmelsdorf.
That would be wonderful for them.
Which is Elevate's best map. So trading maps here back and forth, basically.
Yeah, can they do that, though? Big question. Will they be able to actually execute that? Because now Elevate is going to be on defense this time. And, well, looking at the damage from last time on attack, you've got Brett, Canadian, Dodoma, and Ox. 4 of the Elevate guys putting
All
on top.
above 3K, all
Just-
above 50 fantasy points.
Yeah, and then Germ Photo finish. I mean, Photo is always going to be on the first board no matter what, even if they lose horribly in a battle. Generally, he's up there. Germ as well, and the Mouse putting up solid damage, best he can do. External in the IS-7 with 1923, and as we flip on to the second page, this is what you got to pay attention to. Zim in the bat chat got destroyed. He barely got 1,000 damage out, which is barely 3 shells, 2 shells maybe. And then Vetro, surprisingly enough, in that 50B actually getting less damage. And looks like we're going to get ready to flip sides and go into the next one. James, offline?
No, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, you want to know the offline?
Yeah, if we can get them.
Tell me about the lineups, and I'll tell you about the offlines.
Eclipse coming in here, 50B, a Mouse Type 5, and 2 5As, E3, and a Bat Chat for Eclipse. Elevate, a Mouse, the PZ7 on Himmelsdorf, 3 Type 5s, and an E3. And 2 E3s. What on earth are Elevate going for?
Yep, and James, just to bring you that update you requested for the offline matches, we've got 07 versus Teal Team 6. Teal Team 6 wins 5-1, and F7 versus Aquatic. F7 wins 5-4 over Aquatic.
Couple of really close games there.
Yep. And
the 07 versus Teal Team 6 actually surprises me. 07 seemed to have their stuff together, but this week against Teal Team 6, apparently not.
They're hit and miss, sir. They're hit and miss. And there we go. Damage onto external in the opening. Volley. Looks like playing down the middle 5 line is becoming more and more popular today. We don't see this all the time, but I think this kind of goes back to one of the meta statements that we heard earlier from, who was it? Was that from Aggressor?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was mentioning how sometimes things just are in the meta for a day or a week or something. And I think that's probably the flavor of the week this time, those mid shots on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, the PZ7, also interesting to see that one come out here for Elevate. Decent side scraping tank. Another thing is having that 128. It's actually a pretty good gun at range, so trying to shoot down this 1-2 line, it's actually a decent tank to kind of work these angles with. Also can be a decent hold down tank in the right situation like we see on Mines, so we'll have to see what he can do with this thing. He's just looking for shots, seeing if anything breaks down in the distance, but right now not going to find anything because the Eclipse really aren't too nearby.
Yeah, they're not doing a whole lot right now. Positive's trying to see what he can do. We've got just a bat chat rolling around on his end. Actually, he almost caught that. That almost hit him. That blind shot from Canadian that we just saw, that went incredibly close.
Yeah, now Positive's going to be spotted, and we're going to see, he lines up a shot, it actually hits the building.
And he's not
RNG
spotted.
Not in his favor.
Not spotted, though. That's important. Positive does not know he's there, and that actually might allow Canadian to get a one shell or 2 shells in there. Although he's going to back off, safe and sound, and just start trying to spot things. Does not... Wait, Positive doesn't stock optics on his bat. Well, for Himmelsdorf, I understand that. Yeah, it makes sense, okay. Gun laying drive and a FV stab. Yeah. I mean, the gun laying drive is nice on a bat chat, but I don't know. What do you think? I've always gone with optics or.
I've never been a scout bat really, so I've always actually favored the same setup just to get the better gun handling. But I mean, coated optics I by no means think are bad. It's just depending on the situation. I've just preferred to go for the gun handling because it's pretty weak on the bat jet. But you can easily swap that out for coated optics. Sometimes you have to for clan wars or tournaments or whatnot, but it just depends on the situation and where you're going to play and the positions and whatnot. Now, I will question it a little bit since he is essentially a scout bat right now. He does have the mouse actually in front of him to spot.
Yeah, but he's also, to his benefit, though.
It is Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, this is the only range where it matters all that much. Problem is, though, Positive got a little close for comfort there. Oh, and he finally spots the PZ7. That's great for Positive. That's exactly what Eclipse wants to know. But we're going to note 6 minutes 30 seconds, so we've got a lot of time already used in order to kind of get where we are now.
And just notice Positive there trying to go for the ring right under the turret on the PZ7. It's the only weak spot, very similar to the 215B.
The low as well.
Yeah, the low as well. Just underneath the turret, there is. It's still circular, but it's relatively flat and it sticks out a good bit. And the angle's such that if you hit it, even when it's side scraping, you can normally do damage on say like an i7 or something like that.
Armor edges and where hatches are and where any metal meets other metal that isn't just a straight sheet is generally weaker than the rest of the structure. Just look for those whenever you're trying to find something there. Positive keeping spot.
So right below the turret there, that little ring, when he's side scraping, you see how it kind of bulges out just to the left there?
Yeah.
That's where you want to shoot when they're side scraping at that sort of range. I digress. We get back to the fight.
Yes, it's still pushing forward. A little damage onto Canadian there from Positive. Just trying to see what he can get. Let's another one go.
Still going for that ring. You can see where he's aiming, trying to get a shot in there.
Yep. Just trading at long range. Although I do not recommend this for a bat chat player. It's normally not super reliable. But, you know.
Actually, it's the train car there.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And if you notice how those heat shells, how far they drop and arc through the air, the low shell travel speed.
Yeah, that's a major thing you have to worry about when you're a bat when you're scouting.
Vetro smacks drop.
Wow. That's too bad. You don't want to be a low health.
And now Positive's actually moving up, and it looks like they're just going to give up maybe Drock and turn him sideways on the cap and put the bat chat behind him, and that's what they're going to go for.
Yep, that's it. Although, remember, there's some Type 5s running around. There's plenty of other options. And, yep, here we are. A little change up from Eclipse. They've decided no one goes for the one cap. Let's see if Elevate's ready. And a little shift. Drawcap takes a little damage, 158 to the turret. And Canadian Impact is going to be the one that's going to have to hunt for a reset going out wide. Mouse goes down from Drawcap, and it looks like 50B and 5As are going to move over. Look at the E3, by the way, on the hill. Something to pay attention to. We're going to jump over to him for a second. It's T1 Diabetic. He's going to be watching angles as they approach, trying to deal as much damage as possible. As you can see right below, that's a Mouse and a Type 5 that are going to be late to the party. Back to the cap. Positive. Looks like he's actually going to be firing.
He's actually going to get hit by Vetro, who's playing the far angle in that train station.
Did not need that. That is not ideal. Looks like he's going to put enough damage into Canadian, though, that one more shell should finish him off from someone.
Vetro takes another shot in that train station. He's down to a one shot. And it looks like Eclipse are trying to catch out these Type 5s who are out in the open right now.
And Zim, I don't know if you realize what you did, but getting in his exact position actually put damage onto Positive. There, External sneaks a shell in from downtown. Gets a kill. Dark God Zim is now in a really awkward position to try and put pressure
Photo
on the
actually
cap.
kills Canadian Impact. And now they're going to push around. Dark God Zim trying to play the hold down off the mouse in the bat chat there. And now Photo should be able to get his gun into the fight and put some more shots onto these Type 5s. He's looking for the angle, waiting, but the fences are in play right now. And HE shells will detonate and not do damage on him. Dark God Zim puts a shot into wall hacks. And now Photo's just going to keep on driving. Well, he's spotted. Dark God Zim's going to choose to go to the other side, try to bait him into his teammate's gun.
This is a very difficult situation right now for both teams to navigate. Hit points, though, are in favor of Elevate still. That's your blue team. So red guys are also... Well, there we go. Zim's down. 4 tanks alive. Okay, that's more and more clearly becoming an advantage for Elevate here. Bounce from Brett on to Exo. 50B in the south. Does not realize yet, possibly, that there's a Type 5 lumbering towards him. Gets one more shell into Brett. Backs up, hits a little bit of a building. Because of that, takes 452 before he retreats fully. Meanwhile, Photo is fighting off against Ox, Mathis, and Wallhacks, but Ox is just going to finish him off, and he does.
Through the building, Photo actually sneaks the kill into Wallhacks first before he goes down.
Nice play. Good heads up.
And Dodoma's going to take down Germ, former teammates. Now it's just down to EXO and T1 Diabetic. Excuse me, just T1 Diabetic. And that E3 up on the hill.
He dealt 778 damage this battle so far. Not a lot else. So Eclipse's plan, while different, unexpected, well-structured, Elevate understood what to do and navigated this problem themselves. They did a good job here. So I think that's pretty much it. Just one more win will finish this one off.
We're going to Ghost Town, which is actually a pretty strong map for Eclipse. Gets another 700 for fantasy points.
There you go.
But everyone else should reload before he's reloaded again, including Brett, who's right in front of him. And T1 Diabetic's just swerving around, finds the Doma coming around the corner, but Brett picks up the kill.
Nicely done. All right. So
that is going to be a 4-2 scoreline in favor of Elevate, and now it is all down to Ghost Town.
And like you said, Eclipse has a chance here. They could bring this back. 2 wins on Ghost Town will take us to a tiebreaker. That tiebreaker being Himmelsdorf, by the way.
Vetro.
What? What do you do?
Vetro.
He's looking at after-game stats. James always looks at after-game stats.
5,300 damage that game.
Really?
And an E3, despite getting bullied the whole game, basically, by the Type 5, taking a lot of damage. 5,300 damage.
Not bad at all. All right, so reviewing this battle one more time. Trying to do a block on the west side cap that ultimately didn't work out.
That one, the decision to go for that play did kind of confuse me, I must admit.
A little bit.
Especially once they spotted the PZ7 out on the 2 line. The problem with going for that sort of screen with just one tank guarding it is you're still susceptible to too many angles. And Elevate did what they had to. They played the multiple angles on that line. They got tanks up against the buildings on the 3 and also down the 1 line. Now looking at the fantasy stats real quick, Vetro 5,300 damage, 1 kill, 126 fantasy points. Photo Finish, Type 5, coming in here, 2,800, 2 kills, doing what he can. On the second page, Wallhacks, who got picked off late game there, 34. Canadian Impacts, not able to get a single shot of damage that game, that PZ7. However, the fact that he was there just kind of slowed things down. And
but
I think
no damage?
But no
I
damage,
honestly thought he would deal something.
I think if you give it a little bit more time for him to get into the fight, move up, because once those Type 5s were up there, if he had kept moving up a little bit sooner,
yeah,
they would have found the shots onto that bat chat sooner. But because they got that reset, he didn't have to move. I'm not necessarily defending it, but it's not necessarily the biggest deal right now, I guess is my point. Elevate still, we're in a comfortable position. At no point would him of doing damage won them that game. It was just the presence of being there, denying that lane, and having that extra reset angle, I think, was more important in the long run.
Fair enough. All right, looking at the lineups, we've got a 113, 2 Mice, T57, Type 5, 5A, and a Bat Chat. Some nice mix there. Against 2 Mouse, Type 57, 2 Type 5s, a 5A, and a Bat Chat. So lineups differ in very minor ways.
Yeah, and looking at it, Dark God Zim in the Mouse along with Drock.
Yeah.
And then T1 Diabetic in the Type 5. Coming in with the 57, 113. It still says most likely going for this North 1 cap, very similar play to what they've done.
Yeah, look at
a
the
lot this
map.
season.
You see Positive heading up north as well. Photo Finish going up there. 113 is usually. This kind of does say that the player you're talking about
Positive is being really bold right now.
That's not normal. Normally you would be going for a scout run, but I guess quick cap. Positive's in a relatively flat tank. Although using Photo Finish as cover when the 113 is not a bad way to do this as well, because he can actually put fire onto tanks like Vetro and other guys who are going to move in to try and block Positive. And at the same time, let's take a look at what everyone else is doing. On
Positive taking 2 shots of damage, 3 shots of damage. He is just getting all sorts of abuse right now. He's actually having to leave the cap, and an HE shot hits him for 210.
Yep.
And he's getting away with his life, but not good. Photo Finish now trying to take his place, takes a lot of shot trying to get on cap. He's down to a 1 shot. This is not going good for Eclipse.
No,
That's a lot of early damage.
paid quite a lot here.
Oh, and Photo's trying to leave. Wallhacks comes around the corner and picks it up.
Gets whacked. Okay. That's not good. That might spell the end of it. No real cap pressure doesn't force Elevate to make the decisions that usually cause the defender to lose
at
here.
the position that Eclipse are in right now.
The flank. Look at the Type 5s.
Elevate getting aggressive on the defense. They see them. They see the blood in the water. They're going for it. They want the kill. They want to end this.
Type 5s are moving in.
57's emptying clips into the 5A. The Type 5s are coming in behind. The mice are holding.
As best they can, but they're losing health fast. Dark on Zim and Germ will not last much longer. Vetra's going to be on reload soon. Dodo's got the crossfire. One more shell into Germ will do it. Brett gets out of the way. Nice. Getting out of a crossfire and rejoin the rest of the team. Nicely played. All right. Looking at the individuals, though, Brett should be going down soon. We'll see how much damage he can do before that happens. Positive is on a one-shot against Canadian. Gets taken down. Nicely played. T1, mostly alone. Exo on reload and T57. And yeah, this is not good for Eclipse. It's just about over. Everyone's split up. There's no real cohesion left. Damage is spread way too well across the Elevate tanks. And now the healthy guys are becoming aggressive, getting out ahead. Yeah, Brett goes down, but what's that going to matter in just a minute? Wallhacks knows his target. It's Exo.
External trying to work on Drock as Wallhacks picks up the kill onto Exo. T1 Diabetic. Pretty much all that remains. Except he's going to go down first somehow, and that's going to be Drock. That's all that remains, and that is going to be a 5-2 victory in favor of Elevate for the second time this season.
Ah, so Ute wins, right?
So Ute wins with that prediction, yep.
Good job, Ute.
It's the only one to get the score right today. Other match, not going any of our way. Now,
what?
That is Elevate having beat Eclipse for the last 6 times they've played each other.
Yep, that's usually how it goes. Last time was...
Would have been 2 seasons ago. The first time they played each other.
Yeah, that's the last time that happened. And then as far as Eclipse's record against Elevate, the last time they played, same scoreline.
Yeah,
same
so
scoreline.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Did it again.
Yeah, same thing.
And that's going to be the undefeated record for Elevate, still maintained.
Business as usual, I think is what comps would say.
Yeah, well, we'll find out in a few minutes when we talk to him in a post-game interview.
But first things first, take a look at a few of these crucial replays. Huge kill onto Positive to start the match off, finishing this one. I think Sand River went very well for Elevate. Proc was where things got dicey, where Eclipse started bringing solid strategies, countering out Elevate's plays.
And you could even hear that Elevate were kind of frustrated in their comms during that game. The way they were talking to each other, not necessarily all on the same page, so no surprise there. But Himmelsdorf and Ghost Town, they clearly had it back together. And looking at final fantasy points for that round, Doma, 3,580 fantasy points, External and Vetro. Vetro doing 2,700 on T57. Exo top damage dealer for Eclipse, 2,700. Then Germ in the 5A, and then Brett and Impact having decent rounds, 2,300 plus. Can't complain. On to the second page, T1 Diabetic doing what he can, 2K.
Oxmath is almost meeting him in the Type 5s. And then as
he was so far out of the fight
photo finish,
Wallhacks.
that kill on a photo finish made him left him with 0 damage dealt. But now post-match overall stats, James.
And Vetro saving my fantasy night, 500 fantasy points. Ox doing another 374, excuse me. T1 Diabetic, top 4 T1. And then photo finish actually also coming in there, another 330. Second page here, nothing too surprising. Impact 320, pretty solid night. After that, Positive only 244, so not really able to get into the fight tonight. You know, and to be fair, the maps, these weren't necessarily maps that favored him really outside of Himmelsdorf. He's had some really strong games on Himmelsdorf and Mines, and Ruinberg as well. And so none of those maps really came through outside of Himmelsdorf, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, we do have comps on the line to talk to us about that match. Sir, welcome back. And, well, same score as last time, so nothing changed, right?
Nope. We still got 2-0 on Proc and won the rest. So yeah, nothing new.
Yeah. Same old. What are you guys gonna do about Proc? What's the struggle there? What can you tell us?
The first match, Dodo got caught out early on. So basically, just had a bad shutdown for that one. So I mean, good on them. They saw the opportunity, took it, and they won that one. The second match, Brett was just not listening and sticking around on Hild way too long. So that came down to the wire, and they won that one as well. So, yeah.
So I guess at what point at Pro do you keep coming up with strats, or when do you move it over to a band map for you guys?
Well, I don't think it's a ban map. It's just like people need to listen and people need to do what we do in practice, and there shouldn't be any issues. So, I mean, if it wasn't for those minor hiccups, I think we would have pulled through on those maps and won them.
So you think you're close enough that it's not worth banning, that you guys can just fix a few things and you'll be back in it in the future?
Yep. I mean, well, Eclipse is also a good team, so you can't just, take it willy-nilly with them. So they know what they're doing. They have some good players, and they just, won those 2 matches versus us today. And, kudos to them for that.
Yep. I want to ask about Himmelsdorf. Looks like the meta's shifting a little bit back towards some mid-fire up the 5 line earlier in the battle. Where's that coming from? Or what made you guys decide to start doing that?
I guess it's just like what the other regions are doing, so we're just more in line with that. In terms of what we're bringing to it, I guess we're just bringing, early lights down mid, so we can sort of know where that information is, and then rotate accordingly. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Divide the map in half.
All right, and final thoughts, final words on this match, Comps?
I mean, it was a lot better than our dare match. So we got our problems fixed, but practice still needs some work. So other than that, I mean, it was a good day, good match, and looking forward to next match on Thursday.
Fair enough. All right. Any final thoughts out there for your fans, Comps?
Nope. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next week.
All right. Thank you very much. Once again, congratulations on the win. So, we move on. Now we have our standings to see where we sit at the end of match day 9.
Ah, fantastic. Elevate now with 27 points.
9 points clear of Dare.
Yep, and in the safe zone. Now, with 18 points Dare, 17 points for Eclipse. Teal Team 6 and Top Tier are now the 2 tied for 4th and 5th. Aquatic secures 6th place. F7 now with 9 points, and 07 still with their 3.
Yeah, F7 really needed the win in regulation there to pull ahead, but that tiebreaker win, they'll gain a point on them, but since M60 still get a point, they hold their 6th place spot, which is what M60s really want, because remember, the online playoffs is 3rd through 6th, excuse me. So, all those teams are still in there, and Eclipse still going to have the pressure on them to try to pass Dare going into the next couple match days, and they still have to play each other one more time this season, so it's still up for grabs.
We shall see. All right.
Now we move on to next day's schedule. It is going to be M60s versus Eclipse to start us off. And then 07 versus Elevate. Can 07 take down the Titans? They were able to take down Eclipse last week. We'll have to see. And then we have F7 versus Dare Rising. And then Teal Team 6 takes on Top Tier, also in the other offline match. So should be a good match day on Thursday. So make sure you guys tune back in, normal match time.
Yep, and of course, don't forget social media, ladies and gentlemen. On Twitter, we are at WGLNA. And you should be using that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets a little easier, feature them here on the broadcast. Don't forget, of course, Facebook, where we go live with a little pregame show between James and myself. That's facebook.com/WGLNA. And of course, we have Fantasy.
And that's at fantasytanks.com. Compete against the rest of us. Fight for Type 59. This is one of the very few places where you can consistently earn a Type 59. So if you don't have one, this is one of the few ways. Plus a whole lot of gold, boosters, all the other good stuff, and some other premium tanks. And then just see how you stack up versus the rest of us, myself, Randall, all the ESL staff, the Wargaming staff, and everyone else in the community. So it's just a good time to get in there, see how you are all doing, especially against Ute, who's sitting down there in 200-something, and our observer Sam's also sitting down there in 200-something, and Ninja Gumby's also sitting down there in 200-something down there. So, it's a good time. Make sure you're all beating them, especially.
Especially them. You can tell exactly where Rox stands on this issue. Anyway, James, it's been a pleasure. These were fun matches today, sir.
No, absolutely. It was a blast. I mean, we already showed you guys Thursday's match schedule, so make sure you come back. Normal match time. That's it for us tonight, folks, though. I've been James Rockstar Grieve. That's been Randall Rookhill Holcomb. We'll see you Thursday.